be a tough series for Complexity to win, even if they are the favorites.
Well, I'm not entertaining the idea of a 2-0 in this one. I do think it will go to 3 maps personally. I don't think there's a possibility of that happening. But yes, Complexity need to bounce back from the countless losses they've taken in the last few weeks. Need to get this pistol under wraps and get this first map started with a bang. USP's pulled out with the Glocks. Sinners on the T-side start, pressing in towards mid.
Even Grim just trying to see if he can spot for some information, group up of 3 players with quite a bit of util to follow. And as soon as that contact comes in, you've just got to imagine a split plays on the cards.
Molotov sent down initially. The flash is sent forward from JT, trying to suppress this Sinners camp. A Shock overwhelmed with a Goosh and a Dink and a kill. A 5-on-4 game as Junior tries to hold back here at the elevator entrance with Grim's support. He'll get 2 kills for it back at the sniper's nest. A 3-on-3 with a bomb dropped in the open, but still extensions from Beatstick and Forzy get banged to fall. Grim swings out for the triple, but loses his life. The bomb's recovered. 1-on-3 for Floppy now, and he even falls to the pistol, the Sinners.
That was a very creative pistol, and one that I don't see very often. So it's actually a split A, something that just in general of Vertigo, you don't see many mid to A plays at all. And they actually work it really well. They get the molly down towards that divider sort of position into the B site. They get a smoke down for spawn. They really put a lot of pressure on fighting off those rotates. And outside of Grim getting a couple of kills towards Sniper's Nest, there really wasn't much success in that round being found from Complexity.
Gain the start out for the Sinners side. USP's pulled out for the Cold Cap. 5-7 in amongst all those USPs. Grim, of course, got the double ups. We got a little bit extra cash to buy into this round with, but very little overall.
This for Sinners is a perfect chance to start farming up the money. The slight shoulder has not been seen just yet from Junior. They don't want to lose players in a round like this.
Burst spray through from Tom K. Zedco can't capitalize upon that damage, get the kill onto Junior, and JT will also fall with assistance on the back and forth faces. So 5-on-3, Mac 10 of Beatstick now walking into the B site. Easy kill against Floppy. This round goes the way of Sinners, pretty easy itself.
Grim just hanging around, trying to see if any further damage will present itself. Maybe a pick on the Shock, but low on HP is going to be difficult. Has to catch a right timing, and now it's been seen up. Beatstick can just go through that Mac 10, and even Fang's been seen, so maybe another Mac 10 kill.
Before the SMG, the 1,800 bucks that can come through for him. Indeed, he will land the extra cash, so bolster up the economy, get the start that they want here for the Sinners. Pistol conversion gain and cash is flowing. Of course, it was an eco for Complexity, so they can buy up here. The map 1 odds at Coolbet do have them as favorites. Let's see whether it continues that way.
Funny enough, Jay, one of the things that I noted down before this matchup was that Sinners have a very good map pool versus Complexity, with a lot of strength on Vertigo, Inferno, and Overpass, and they're the 3 maps that are all being played. So you are picking into a very strong map pool of Sinners in a best-of-3 scenario like this.
Nade sent down to Shock. Floppy avoided by Zedco. Nade's inbound for him. We're going to try to see if we can catch him off at the forward face. Indeed, it lands perfectly. 61 HP for Floppy here.
Zedco not really showing too much B presence, though, other than that 1 HE. Very quiet towards the ramp take as well. They've left Junior quite aggressive just to jiggle down. Not seeing anything as of yet.
Looks at the box angle. Smoke up to the top, so suppress vision on the T-side line. Gives him no real way to take an engagement. Will burn at 51, quite significantly so. Didn't realize until far too late. Shock can capitalize, but at least a kill was found.
Even that retake towards the ramp control doesn't hold much presence from the CTs at all. Zedco looking to try and see if he can follow up onto Grim. That's a great entry for the T side.
What an angle. Looked like Grim had him dead to rights, but the headshot was still found at the wall bang. 4-on-3, Sinners have the advantage, and Complexity have left the B site. No one's there. Stack A, bomb will rotate, and it should go down for it.
This is a very good mid-round call coming through from Sinners, and expect a lot of mid-round over-aggression from them. They love to dictate where they end up on the T side, constantly changing up their offensive. And as of right now for Complexity, it is just an A-stack gamble.
A walk in for them, the M4s. Start the rotations away to try get into the mid and B site control. Sinners might still go to A, though. They're leaning in towards that entrance. About to face the crossfire of JT and Fang. 2 kills come back. Forzy did find 1 trade. That bomb yet to be seen, and Shock will catch Fang with his back being turned. 10 seconds. Floppy can still deny this right here. The Molotov sent in. Got to get the kill on Shock, and he lands it as well. Can stay alive. 3 seconds. Zedco's at 1 point of HP. Needs to swing. Get the headshot immediately, and Floppy lands him just before the time hits 0. That's a round stolen by Complexity.
And that's a very good hold coming through from Floppy, one of the key entities for that Complexity side. And for Sinners, it seemed like they had the right read. They got the man advantage, they slow it down, maybe don't have all of the information in the world that there is an A-stack gamble, that there's 3 players towards that A side to defend. And for Floppy, as soon as he drops that bomb, you just know that round is his. You can see the way that Shock is just trying to get over towards safety. And if he gets that bomb down, it's a different story.
No money investment here. Sinners, of course, can force the issue with the guns out. Orpin, the AKs, the Galil on Zedko, and Forzy will land on JT. Edge of the smoke, barely spotted, but he's spotted.
Forzy's currently the 11th highest rated player in the entire event so far, Jay, averaging a 1.20 rating across 14 maps played from the main Swiss onwards. Expect a lot of damage coming through from him. We always look at Forzy.
Damage started in this round, and we'll back off alongside B-Stick. Behind the bridge, B-Stick will be the only man left towards the ramp defaults here, just making noise, drawing attention away from the real execution in the B-site.
Fang could have a good info play, though, aggressing right down towards the bottom of ramp. They're going to start rotating Grim and Junior over, and you'd have to imagine Floppy's got a hold.
B-Stick has his eyes set. Trying to prod out towards that A site, try to draw more attention away. With Fang seeing and hearing nothing, the rotations will come back to that B site. Floppy also sees and hears nothing, but he's also not taking an active angle. Now getting tagged up by the AWP. 2 tags through the quad. Girders, Grim, the kill found to bring it back to a 4-on-4. Zedko out into the open is going to find a double up against the CT side. A 4-on-3 with a bomb being dropped. Floppy still sat back there. Tom Case isn't ready for it. Floppy can only get a kill for that, though. Forzy with a trade. B-Stick faced upon Junior. Removes him, so it's all to the AWP of Forzy in a 1v2. Bomb on his back and facing onto Fang. The pre-fire angle was good, but Fang's just one better, 2-all.
Very good protocol coming through towards the B-side defense there. You can see Floppy was getting tagged up, was in a position where he just doesn't overpeak and gets a lot of support forward by Grim. There's a slight lineup for a moment, and it's this second frag that drops the bomb onto Zedko that really bides a way into the ramp of Complexity. It stalls for so much time. Tom Case eventually falls. It gets a little bit scrappy with the trading towards the end of the round, but a very good sequence from both Floppy and Grim to start it.
Hartree setting on the Sinners now. No bomb plant bonus found in the last round of the one before. So Glock's out for the T-side line. Already the smokes in the AWP set in position.
Junior wanted to get as much out of this as possible. And for Complexity, getting as much out of the lead, getting up to 3-2, they'll be very happy about that much.
Watching and waiting for Junior's part. Sees one. They swing together into the M4 of Fang, and they do find Fang as well somehow. Nays up the position. That should do some damage to Zedko. Not a massive amount. Either way, they suppress the T side.
Now it's just about doing some further damage, getting a cross smoke down, getting as much out of the M4. Tom Case going to hold it up for the moment.
Boost up on Forzy. Run boost, perhaps? Seems to be C1. Man, somehow fighting the fight onto Junior. Ducks away from Grim, who does get the bomb carrier to drop. Now in the open, and Tom Case will do even further damage as Forzy inserts himself into the flank. Now out towards side alley. Grim is going to get caught for it. Frag found. JT extremely low. The headshot can't come through from Forzy, though. He can just do the tag damage, but a teammate from Complexity gets him to 3.
Very good eco coming out of Sinners. They just had Glocks in that round, and they get away with 3 kills. Even Tom Case with the run boost over gets as much out of that M-frame and S as possible. And I guess the desk kind of spoke about it, right? It is a little bit of a hindrance playing with the coach, and it means that some of your other riflers are going to have to step up in dead. Because for Tom Case, he's currently the 98th highest rated player in the event, Jay, and there's only 101. So we're hoping that he can hold his weight in a series like this and get more out of some of the other teammates.
AWP shot not connecting for Junior. Zedko swings out, immediately gets the start. And B-Stick returned by Fang in a 4-on-4 situation. He's going to aggress into Shock as well. Double up and everything. Sinners down by a man.
Good pressure being applied down here to the bottom of ramp. Slight wallbang coming through. Double wallbang actually from Forzy.
Grim removed by Tom Case. Forzy and Zedko, the last 2 players that remain. Sinners dismantled in this round. Complexity showing some early confidence now. It doesn't feel like the T-side are done just yet. A boost up for the AWP. Forzy will look onto the back lines, not see where Floppy's holding from.
Need that immediate connection if you really want to crack open the site. And Floppy's just playing it so defensive. I love this setup in the 4v2.
Lean into that AWP. Zedko's AK leans up as well. Floppy sat back waiting. M4 sees him, gets the kill. Forzie's awful swing, take a shot, and now they know exactly where he is. Does find a crack angle on Floppy's kill. Which would have been impactful had Grim not traded immediately, so not to be in this one for the Sinner side. Good fight back from the deficit, but ultimately around for Complexity again.
And for Complexity, we've seen so far this year, Jay, they've played 12 best-of-3s against EU and CIS teams. They've won a single best-of-3 out of all of that, and that was a win against Heat nearly 5 months ago.
The Eagles in Vicinus here and now. More to play with. This next round, M4s, of course, aggressing with the AKs. Once again, the starts have been pretty consistent for Complexity here on a CT half. Damage against Zedko. Not quite a kill yet.
Slight boost up from Forzy. Try and see if he can get into allowing the first duel to get created. But really, for both Fang and Junior, they have been solid on this ramp hold.
The eyes set on, no need to move for now. Of course, they know they're up against the pistols. Economy reach should be that much of an obvious factor. Forzy will get tagged up first. Fang and JT will combine alongside Junior. A couple of kills back from the Deagles. Forzy especially, but Tom Case dealt with in mid-control. And now Forzy has got to go back for the bomb before he tries this 1v2 clutch. He's brought it down to 2 players, though, so this is doable.
Without the armor's going to be tough, though. The aim punch is really going to be a factor. And even going back in towards the A play, it seems like Floppy and Grim want to get aggressive towards the top of ramp.
Forzy's best play here would have been to go towards the B site. He had plenty of time to do so. Maybe play the mind games and try and bait them out later. Moving forward, and Grim gets on top of the boost. Gets the frag back at the top as Forzy dropped. AK recovered. 5th round to the board of Complexity. And a very nice hold together overall, but those Deagles made it very dicey, for Forzy especially.
Just saw Complexity over peaking eventually. While they've got a 5v2, they just keep sort of sending players, at least Fang and Junior, towards the top of ramp. Just keep peeking, don't really need to. Comes down to being expensive, and maybe the conversation could be, as the series comes on, of Complexity strengthening in the anti-ecos, because so far they've been expensive.
Reset is on for them. Heavy damage sustained, it will continue along that particular route. Sinner's rifle set in the AWP, particularly for Forzy. Watching out that 51 angle, Zedko prodding out to the stairs of the B site. Can't see Floppy just yet, so passive control comes in.
Zedko often prods around quite a lot towards these B stairs angle, catches anchors sleeping. As of right now, we've seen how consistent Floppy has been at not over-peaking. Even the boost up towards the alley entrance, Fang is not seeing anything in the tarps.
Might see the player on the sandbags boost. Indeed, B-Stick's picked up first and foremost, so once again, the opening kills are found by Complexity here.
Fall back off of that, more utility to go down towards the ramp position. Doesn't quite follow up any further. Zedko still hanging around over towards the B site. The time is getting stalled.
45 left on the clock. Zedko's now revealed his position. What can Complexity connect with that, though? What inkling can they receive? It seems to think it's going to be a B play, so leaving 2 players back on the A defense.
Even Fang playing that headshot angle, very difficult to trade. And Junior with the AWP are playing super defensive right now on A.
I set on the alley position, which is where the T's will not play towards. All 3 of the main force will be coming out here towards ramp. Molotov down towards Junior's position, forcing him back. Nade lands so perfectly as well. Fang watching and waiting in shock, gets the kill without even the requirement for a trade. 10 seconds left though, and Grim steps up with 2 big kills that forces them back. No time to recover, no time to plant. Complexity connects 6.
Seeing some X factor out of some of the individuals from Complexity. Right now for Grim, he's playing really well, and he's normally the guy to always keep an eye out for. And Vertigo averages a 1.11 rating in the last 3 months on this map, and he just felt when you're running down the clock, you need to get those superb entries. And while they're able to do that onto Fang, it's just Grim from the elevator position coming so quickly on that rotate. And we haven't seen a bomb plant in these last few rounds at all from Sinners either.
No cash coming into the T-side line, so these 6 in a row have been confident for Complexity. A couple of occasions would have had to save, obviously, and that last one was one of them. of a start for the North Americans. Junior starts off the round once again in from the alley entrance. B-Stick swings. Linus was not there. The AWP perfect without a lick of damage done to Cole.
Very concerning for Sinners. We saw them play on Vertigo against Ecstatic. 7 rounds on the T side is what was gained then. I don't know if even that's a possibility. Out towards a mid control. It's just a shutdown. Vertical crossfire for both Grim and JT. And Forzy's just left as the last one to just make anything happen.
1:10 for the save here. It's likely that he just holds on and tries his best to stay alive. A 1-on-5. That's the clutch he needs to make happen if he wins the round itself. And it's just borderline impossible here. It would require isolating each individual fight and a lot of luck.
Yeah, I'm not entertaining it. I'm pretty sold that this is done. And for Complexity, I'm pretty sold that they're going to come into this series quite prepared. When you think about their track record, the 7-game losing streak, winning 5 out of 15 best-of-3s in the last 3 months. Again, a lot of that against local competition of either North American or South American teams. Does entertain the conversation of what they'll be like against Tier 2 Europeans, because even when you think about recent history, outside of maybe the AGO game that they played in Pro League, they've only been playing Tier 1 teams.
It's always the caveat point. Like I mentioned before, in theory, this should be a layup for Complexity. Step down from the squads they usually play, and Sinners playing with a coach in this lineup, not getting their permanent 5th until what seems to be after the player break. The end result should lead to a victory. And so far, that's what's happening for Complexity. 7 in a row for the CT side now. Sinners, the pistol, and the eco is all that they found.
As Sinners are ranked 2nd in the event on their T side for the highest round win percentage in 5v4 situations. The difficult factor they're facing, though, is opening picks just aren't coming. So that idea of closing down the rounds with a man advantage is so much more difficult to work with because of the initial starts. And for Complexity, just keep an eye on how many AKs consistently get held forward on the City side, because they've been collecting quite a few over these last few rounds.
Upset for Forzy, the only rifle in this round here for Sinners, hoping for the quack angle to present itself. Nades on, perfect to Zedco. Wonderfully timed, wonderfully placed there by Floppy, I believe it was who threw that. It might have been Grim. No, it wasn't. He has his own nades, so yes, definitely Floppy. Mid control being contested at the scaff position. A shot on the Junior. Grim connects 2. Easy pickings against the pistols. Forzy's down, the rifle's out. The round is out as well.
Eco not presenting much at all. Even Zedco, who's constantly tried to find openings out towards the B site, has been unsuccessful. B-Stick's at least going to come with him.
Burst through from Floppy, not landing the headshot towards B6 position. Holds back here towards Quad, or reposition to the back of Plat. Has Fang on backup, so the crossfire's locked, and Sinners should have no way of breaking it. They will at least get the 1 frag, but now the bomb's been dropped and it's all left to one man who's so close to contact. CT's on hard rotate. Back to that inbound from Grim as well. Zedco's just, again, got absolutely no chance of making this happen. So this will be 8 in a row for Complexity, continuing to stack up the CT side as they gain a half.
And you've got to imagine someone like Anton, who's the assistant coach and analyst for this Complexity side, would actually be able to give them quite a lot of preparation for some of the Tier 2 European squads, being a coach of Singularity, being an analyst in the past for 3D Max and AGO before getting that step up to Tier 1, to G2, and then obviously moving over to Complexity. The Sinners, this core has been around for a very long time.
Have great successes for it. Successes in this early start of the AWP for Junior, though, wants the first frag, something that the Sinners haven't gained until now. Forzy punishes his aggression and finishes off the frag that his coach has started.
Even JT trying to get right back in towards that mid-control, put pressure back on. Him and Grim might actually get a little bit more aggressive, and it feels further more pacey in this round, a little bit more acceleration from Sinners.
Only found the first frag thanks to the aggression from Complexity the same, so both sides want to meet each other head on. Just that 1 pick on Junior. Very little damage done to the Sinners to return, so objectively they come out in the front of foot. Bomb will get picked up from Zedco and trying to commit past the bridge with all 5 of the T-side players with their eyes set on the A site.
Complexity have done a very good job of mid-round calling these stacks. This is another play where they've got so many players towards the top of ramp.
And Grim leaning ahead of the smoke as he starts to clear. The massive T-side player seen by JT. A shot gets two. Beefstick finds one. And they finally find the overwhelming force here. 1-on-5 for Floppy's clutch. It's not going to happen.
That's got to be a good feeling for Sinners. Breaking apart a solid defense towards the top of Ram. Zedko getting super aggressive to the top of Orange. What a successful round that is for Sinners. And you wonder, does that click something? Does that then start getting a bit more confidence forward for Sinners? Start allowing them to get more success on T-side? Because that has to be said to be one of the strongest rounds yet from them.
Dominance on that ramp take and dominance on the site itself. See it from shot perspective. These two kills, the adjustment to the second man was wonderful. And from there, it all just fell apart. One player left, couldn't do much there for Floppy. At least there's money out for the complexity side, so they can rebuy here. Orpin, Virginia, M4s for the other four players. Sinners, default setting back to standards.
Fang getting aggressive towards that tops again. Beefstick trying to evade all of that damage, but he's right out in the open now.
Stick needs the headshot, that's what he gets. The nade tank damage to 50 HP will certainly aid in a trade. The star has been found for the T-side line and Fang responds.
He catches all the info that there's no more ramp aggression. This is going to have to be a fairly quicker take towards B now.
Slow things down on the Sinner side though. Put out towards the mid control for the two individuals that are there. The bomb's yet to get picked up. The flashes in against Junior. We'll try to cut the rotations back to that B site. Grim, however, finds the 2 kills and once again steps up for the complexity side in mid. A 4-on-2 scenario, and Sinners have no choice but to keep it slow now.
Even Floppy just so deep in the bomb site. Zedko's been offered nothing. No aggression out towards the top of the B stairs at all. And for him and Shock, they're getting desperate in this 2v4.
The bomb's been recovered and it's starting to rotate back towards this B site. They have still only got Floppy back here. Grim is watching mid from spawn. Utility sent down, the Molotov in, the smoke also set. Grim waiting back behind Platt, flash against him. Zedko's seen him, but he hasn't accounted for Floppy. Floppy can get his kill, and Shock's now just got nothing left in the round here. 1-on-4 scenario, best to save. Concede 9 to complexity. This CT side is going swimmingly for them.
They've been outclassing Sinners, which is a surprise on Vertigo. We obviously know that it's one of the strongest maps in the pool for complexity, and this is why I was kind of entertaining the detail that Sinners had a good map pool versus complexity, that you've got the Vertigo through, that you've got the Inferno, that you've got the Overpass, but it goes both ways. It was the map pick in by the Czechs. But as of right now, they will not be happy with the performance they put on. The fact that even Beefstick allows that opening kill to flourish towards the top of ramp over to JT, but then just gets denied so quickly. And then out to the B site, Floppy's been very consistent. Grim, they've been struggling to deal with Grim. That has to be said.
Well, 16 kills in the map up definitely will indicate that for him. Ridiculous number of frags for only 12 rounds played. Sinners trying to take the option of playing away from him here. Again, towards the ramp default will go. Fang behind the smokes here at the alley position will fall back into alley itself. Leave Junior alone behind the sandbags to defend.
Junior's just waiting for that peak to come forward. Haven't seen much out of the sandbags, but haven't seen much out of that. Beefstick, what an entry that is.
Fang with a good response on Tom case though. A 4-on-4 scenario. Smoke set to try and block off the corner. Sinners try and find their angle regardless. There are limits to the smokes. And Forza are going to try use his to land on JT, but JT sends him packing. AK can't see the boost either. Fang will get it. Zedko recovers the AWP and does turn it back to a 2-on-3, but still a 2-on-3 favorable to complexity. They know where the bomb is and everything. It's a case of fighting back here for the Sinners.
Just mass players on A. Got to try and break the crossfire apart. Grim's been seen. Zedko peeks out to the open and Beefstick. Last one left. They aggress towards the top of ramp. And he just felt there for Sinners while they got a decent entry. It's the follow-up that's a real big struggle in that round. Complexity, very impressive on this CT side. And we can obviously talk about the lack of bomb plants. It hasn't been a retake city at all for Complexity. In fact, it's been the opposite.
We've had this ongoing discussion as well about Sinners' current position in the world of Counter-Strike, because not having their main 5-man unit, not having a 5-man unit in general, playing with their coach in these tournaments, it's going to throw the line off somewhat, right? Is that coming through in this current map up?
I think definitely so. And you have to keep in mind, it's not just a 5th player, it was their best player. Neofrag was the strongest rifler that Sinners had for the last 2 years. So it is picking into effect quite hard in this series, I want to say.
I'll think about losing Oscar as well and what impact those two individuals had.
I don't know, to be honest. I think Forzy's really came through and impressed a lot of people since coming in.
Regardless, for Sinners, it's 2 players out, 1 player in.
That is true.
So having that deficit is going to impact them, and very clearly it has impacted them right here on the T-side line. Entries have been decent, but everything else lesser so. Down by a player already to Junior's AWP pick early in the round, and Sinners try prod towards the B site. The bomb's not on the back of anybody though, so if this site take is successful, it will commit. Otherwise, oh, it's shut down again for the T side line. Floppy picks up shot with a quick headshot, smokes in. Tom Case can respond through the smoke, but Junior struck back. So is Forzy. 3-on-2, and they counter-rotate to grab that bomb as a backstab comes in from Junior the same.
This is looking very promising right now for Complexity, and just stacking up that B site once again. We've just given so much praise to JT on these stack plays on City side, and they're doing it again.
Rotations out from Sinners are thinking about the commitment, thinking about the rotate towards the A site. Forzy will get boosted. Up to the site, 15 seconds. They can't afford to wait any longer. The bomb has got to commit. The AWP trying to play entry. Quick pop out, does not see Fang, does not see JT. Pre-fire, checks the position, 2-on-2. M4 overwhelmed. Forzy's brought it back. Oh, what a shot as well! A quadra for him in the round. And finally, Sinners have broken the curse.
Okay, that has come out of nowhere. That time was really stalled. And when you've got a 5-on-3 like that, you think it's over. You think that there's not really much of a way back in. Tom Case with the spam, Forzy with the refrags. 10 seconds is really when this duel presented itself, and just the follow-up, fragging with the AWP, the adjustment back down onto Junior. That is one hell of a sequence.
That's silly. Forzy's in for more, but Grim looking to shut him down. A greater slip towards mid once again. Finds his pick. Tom Case with a responsive, and B-Stick follows suit onto Junior. And now Sinners have found their rhythm. Only at round 15, though. It's coming very, very late.
Indeed it has. B-Stick watching out for that boost position because they've seen it previously. There might be some further aggression towards mid, which Tom Case is ready for.
Oh, B-Stick catches Fang with a smoke flading. Tom Case headshot on Floppy. JT not spotted just yet, but the last man standing can get that one pick. Needs to get so many more trades.
JT, quick on rotate. B-Stick on the other side. Gets away with one, but Shock is there. And for Sinners, I'd say it's a recovery towards the end of the half, but they won't be happy about 5 rounds, that's for sure. Wanting to get a whole lot more out of this entire situation. And this is looking really promising from Complexity on map 1 to try and set themselves up for a very tidy win in the series.
A 10-5 half for them on the CT side. And again, the pick of the Sinners side, as you would expect, it would be somewhat competent. I didn't see much competency for the majority of that half.
More so glimpses,
but
wasn't it?
At least they're, yeah, just glimpses here and there. Towards the end, they got themselves together. Forzy had enough of being playing on the back foot and decided to wake up and get a massive 4K sequence. So now's the chance for Sinners to clap back as they go to their CT half.
We have seen Complexity on T side have some struggles in the last 3 months, having a round win percentage of only 37.3, but I don't know how much of a factor that's really going to be when you've got this sort of scoreline to work with. The Sinners have got to really start digging deep, get more out of Forzy on a consistent basis. Probably look at someone like Zedko and Shock to start adding more to the tally too. For Complexity, it seems as if they want to try and at least fake out this B side, but the bomb's going A.
Floppy making a lot of noise with backup here. Indeed, the main T-side unit will be leaning in towards ramp. I don't know if Forzy's hearing his footsteps. They are walking silently. He'll start the prod forward and lose his life. Now they have to full send into the A side because the bomb's been seen with Junior there. 2 players on rotate, so that fate doesn't really do much here for the Complexity side. Sinners continue leaning forward. Tom Case especially in towards that alley position. Seeing Fang tapping through, but Fang and Grim get their kills to a 5-on-2 scenario.
I think you might as well just save in a 2v5 forced by next round. There's not really going to be much way in which you're able to get this retake together. Complexity just working that ramp control. Decent entry from Junior, and then it's just the combination of Grim and Fang dealing with the next couple. 11-5 up for Complexity, and this is an eye-opener because you think about Complexity, the way they went through the Americas RMR, they go through into the major, but kind of go out early for Sinners. They went through the EU RMR, which is obviously so much more difficult, and you saw even against B&E, they were a few rounds away from making it to the major, only going 2 and 3 when it comes to the Swiss stage result. And then losing Neofrag after that, having Tom K standing in. Still, Sinners have been a competitive team, even with that change coming out in their most recent officials. But right now, this is an eye-opener.
Compounding the concerns we had for Sinners in the long term. Right now here on their map pick in a series where we threw a lot of doubt into the mix for Complexity. We're talking about their losses, their issues when it comes to getting series on the board. This might finally break that loss streak, it seems. Depends on if Sinners can get their act together here for the CT side. And they have got to force buy back in. Second round break with the Masters and Eagles.
Complexity are very passive towards the bottom of ramp. Sinners getting the triple boost over, getting even more site coverage to look down. And you've got to imagine, as soon as Shock is able to get a contact, get a kill, just fall back.
JT seen and sprayed. There's Shock with a startup. Dismantle the three-man boost and get out of dodge.
Work with the opening man advantage. Complexity is still going to brute force their way into A, though.
Oh, body block on that smoke. I don't know if that was intentional or not. B6 to get caught by Junior anyway. Falls, he needs to strike, and he can't do much with it. Junior and Grim and Fang combine, removing all elements from play here to the site. Zedco 1v4.
Nothing that's gained out of that one. And disappointing for Sinners, knowing that they had an opening pick towards ramp and weren't really able to muster up anything after that fact. Grim with another couple of kills, and 21-8, he's having a baller of a game. He's played really well, been very consistent across the first half, and now even going into the second. And you'd have to imagine, as the series continues on, targeting the likes of Grim and making it more difficult for him to find impact has to be something that's got to be discussed for Sinners.
$12 on the board for Complexity. Discussion will be what they do to bring it back. Starting to look a lot like the first map in the last series, Dweg. Map 1. Go the way of the Complexity side, but the difference this time is that Sinners picked into this. So their main sticking point in this series will fall significantly out of favor.
Just trying to get more consistency across the board from Sinners is what they're trying to put themselves in. We saw that they were down 1-2 in the main Swiss stage here in Elisa, getting a 2-0 win over Kova, getting a 2-0 over EC Kiev, and then getting into the playoff round 1 game against Ecstatic, beating a top 30 team in the world in a close 2-0 fashion. Vertigo obviously being seen in the 16-14.
A lot more one-sided in this particular case, though. Complexity. Playing with the guns versus the pistols, and again, that for Mars for Zedco being the only major thing to work with here. Seen by Fang at the banger angle. Rifle removed. Tom K stands alone towards the B site. Forzy is on his way with a second USP, but meanwhile, Junior strikes out to A, gets B stick. Swings of the rifles. We'll now see the last remaining CT players. Tom K's caught. Florzy left alone, and Shock in a 1-on-5, which he just cannot win.
Complexity just getting closer to closing out this first map in the series in a one-sided fashion. Grim needs the adjustment back over to the left-hand side towards window. See if Shock gives him an opportunity.
Bots, burst, kill, all 5 alive. Sinners overwhelmed by the Complexity side. There are only 3 more rounds to go on the T half. Opportunity the Complexity need to close this one out in a one-sided fashion. The Sinners will be on the buy up here. The AWP is back in the hands of Forzy, and at 12 kills, top frag at a CT board, you're looking at him to make the difference, right?
Of course you are. It has to be said that he hasn't had much of a chance of getting the AWP just because of the buy potential in the first half and now even in the second. So we haven't seen a crazy amount with the big green, but this is his opportunity. We know what damage he can do.
Nades up, Incendiary's down. B-Stick trying to lean forward here. Shock. Pressing with the sprays forward. B-Stick. Checking around position, but just can't quite seem to spot them. Great flash in against the man from Complexity will force him off angle for only a moment.
Even B-Stick is still holding so aggressively. Another smoke goes down for some coverage. I think Junior may have seen the AWP actually.
B-Stick is wide at tops, or not. Now he must have been. Junior doesn't get the kill. Forzy still frags back. Fang trying to trade. Both those players have been tagged so heavily here on the CT side, but the advantage sticks here for Sinners, and it extends to a 5-on-1.
Even the off angle being held from Shock out from mid is so difficult to pre-aim. He just felt there for Complexity. They lose the pick towards ramp. They try and figure out what they want to get elsewhere. Prod towards a B site, try a walk out from mid, and they just lose all of the fights. Only one AK gets recovered, though, for the Sinners, but that is a good round and at least a way to get started, get a bit more confidence building on the City side.
It is the opening round, and they need that at least if they want to bring the comeback, so there you go. 6th gain, but the guns are immediately back for Complexity, and a number of times we've seen in this matchup how Complexity have lost one to Sinners and they've clapped right back. Damage is done to JT early in this one, so it's at least encouraging for the CT forces for now. Orpa Jr. ready to watch out for Shock. M4 to try and engage it. A smoke down, however, means that no vision can get gained.
That AWP from Junior got caught off in the last time when there was an aggressive ramp hold towards the top of the smokes. Wants to have a little bit more support around him. Even Shock is thinking about aggressing the tops. It's a matter of timing and positioning too.
Watching that crack in the tops itself. Junior's expecting more presence of 51. B-Stick swinging from the sandbags. No one's watching for that jump phase as Shock tries to extend down now. Incendiary's in. Player seen, Shock rings out, and Shock will continue to extend here. They're about to receive the entire T-side force.
He's just by himself, though. No crossfire being set.
Flashes in, not blinded. 2 to line up, but none to get gained. But B-Stick sprays through the smoke, getting a blind kill onto JT. Damage done to Grim right behind him as well. In at the sandbags, he'll get spotted, and B-Stick can double up. Look for the triple and the quadra. Stolen by Forzy's nade, but leaving Floppy alone the same.
There we go. That's what we want to see. Sinners coming into their own. We see that they lose the first pick, a Shock down there at the bottom of ramp, but just an instant response. B-Stick getting aggressive, being able to multi-frag. The HG placement from Forzy was solid too. And for Sinners, this is now a couple of rounds in a row where they've had convincing victories.
Again, it's the start that they need now in the CT side. The way back into this matchup. Opportunity that presents itself. Still a lot of work that needs to be done to try and bring it back from the deficit. 6 rounds separate Complexity and Sinners here. Smokes up, flashes over, pistols will be played into this round, so it should lay closed a little bit further on this gap. Of course, the spray through from Tom Case goes a Vry, as the Tech 9s on 3 individuals will overwhelm him with the kill. 4 on 4 with a trade back from 1M4.
They eventually just cancelled. There's too much util going down towards that mid-control for them to continue prodding. Zedko is getting aggressive and might spot the bomb if he goes overly towards that B-stairs position.
Not going to go too far, though, just ahead of the white box. As Complexity back away, so even if he did go overly aggressive, now he's missed a chance to spot that bomb. Complexity, what's the game plan here? What's the objective, and what's the play to get that?
They want to work together as a unit system. Even the HE placement's somewhat decent down towards the bottom of ramp. They want to spot for information. They want to try and bait Shock further forward.
Incendiary comes down from him as he falls further back, so mission failed on that front. Incendiary to suppress Complexity. You still have a little bit of time to play with, and with the info of the jump phase given up, they'll rotate back out to mid.
They are baiting a lot of util from Sinners, which they can be happy about. Try and drain as much of that as possible. See if they can over-rotate them too. Even the flash forward. None of the Tech 9s fire, so it's still a lack of info for B-Stick.
So he's the one man now. Fang forced off the boost. Now they have the info. That's an awkward smoke. Who's got to stand close and try and receive? Meanwhile, JT's caught off at the stairs, not checking all the corners. Zedko with an easy kill to the advantage for Sinners now. 20 seconds, and they've got to commit here. Jump round the corner. Junior's caught. Fang's down. Floppy left alone. Falling all the same. Pistols removed. Guns back in for Complexity.
Very good positional advantage from Zedko playing out towards that B site. You just saw that lack of clearance allows him to have a lot of trigger discipline, and it means that the B split setup can really come through from Complexity, and then as soon as they start offering it forward, that's when it gets really ripped apart. Even the lack of nade success going down towards that mid to B wrap still allows the crossfire to be set. 8 on the board now for Sinners, getting closer to double digits at least.
Only 5 rounds to the difference against Complexity. It's a doable deficit. Especially because Cole have been still last 3 rounds, and 3 rounds that they could have gotten to end this map at 16-5. Bit more of a spread out default this time. Not playing as one unit to the ramp play, or the stairs play, or the mid play. Prodding at the CT side, seeing what they can get out of this.
Want to try and force Tom Case off angle, present that duel, try and exploit mid to the furthest of the extent.
Flash and Molly in. JT will swing a perfect counter nade though from Sinners. Tom Case now can swing out, get a couple of easy kills, at least on paper. He doesn't quite land his bullets, though. Incendio is back, and Zedko starts things off. Tom Case combining with Zedko to overwhelm all T-side forces. As soon as they pick up the pace, Complexity fall apart.
Sinners gonna put another one down. Junior tried his best to isolate those fights. Perfect flash over the top. What a round from Tom Case. He ends up with 3 there. And when he spots the information of the quick mid wraparound, he puts down a very good and placed HE that allows a lot of damage to rain through, and then just stalls for time, isolates some very strong individual 1v1s, and ends up with 3. He'll be very happy about that.
Sinners really on the comeback now, with pistols pulled out one more time by Complexity, Deagles, and a P250 in with a little bit of Kevlar, so half the best round. Ultimately, not one you expect to go their way. Smokes in again with the faster plays out, and Incendiaries are blocked off by the smokes. Horsey Zort with Shocks, AK leaning in against the flashes. Nade damage done to JT and Fang as they get damage on the board, but no kills against the Sinners side. Forzy and B-Stick combine the crossfire. They will lose Forzy in the end. The AWP picked up by Floppy. Trying to turn in against Shock, but ultimately dealt with. I mean, Junior alone at 1 point of health. Can't do much here. 10 to the board of Sinners. I'm feeling a bit of a choke on our hands, Dwayne. What do you think?
Possibly. They're going to take a tactical because they have struggled to close. They've had a few rifle rounds to work it, and unfortunately, not a lot of success has been found. There's a lot of CT staying alive, lack of bomb plants too. And even for Forzy up towards 51, I'm surprised that he continues to stay alive and put damage through. He obviously got spotted, he's mollied out, and he's still multi-frags. Might have come down to Sinners having a slow start in this series, but these last few rounds, they've really tried to make a statement.
A moment to take a tactical, of course, for Complexity will be valuable to their game moving forward. If they can turn it into a round win right now, they're back up with a chance to take this win, take this map away. Very important. Sinners know that the same, so they'll bolster up their ranks. The AWP's back with the rest of the rifles. Plenty of cash to play with as well, so even if they lose this round, it is recoverable.
Very quick out of the gates with the util for Complexity, but not actually the players. They don't send it up towards the top of ramp. The Sinners expected they might do.
They're playing towards mid, meanwhile. Tom Case in particular about to be received by Grim. Spray goes awry for the T side. Tom Case somehow winning that fight. Running right into the hands of another AK though. The bait out with the smoke in his hands. The M4 now extending back out to the ladder room. AWP affords there to cut JT off, but they think that there might be a backstab. It might not matter. JT's dealt with. A 5-on-3 is gained.
Unreal to think that Tom Case is trying to make aggressive info plays by himself. They got the crossfire set, and now they turn a 5v3. Floppy just being peeked on. Zedko flying down to the gates once he hears that reload, and Fang's best bet is to just try and regroup towards ramp.
Their confidence has returned for the Sinners side. Fang and Junior, last 2 players alive. Junior trying to be joined by his teammate in from the alley position to be checked out. And the M4 swings. Somehow Junior still lands on B-Stick. So Complexity giving it their best effort. The bomb should have been spotted as well. Rotation potential was there, but I don't think they're going to go for that here. Sinners, their heart set to the A side.
Well, the Jewel goes the way of Junior. There is a HG. Keep an eye on where that lands.
Down default, Junior, not dead to it. 3 points of health. Tom Case will start extending through the smoke though, and backs off in the end, waits for his teammate to arrive.
Oh, that looked like it was it. That seemed like it was going to deny the bomb, and now Junior and Fang have got the workability to clutch out this 2v2.
High HP advantage for Sinners though. Smoke's being sent down onto bomb site itself, trying to block off that position, but Junior lands a wall bang on Tom Case. Zedko alone, Kit in play, but needs to find these T-side players. He'll just spray through and catch him. Junior ends up with a quadra. What's a recovery from him, and a recovery for Complexity.
That's a massive round coming through from Junior, and that's a facepalm moment. Why is Beastie getting aggressive there? He knows better than that. They just offered up individual duels. If they play that 4v2 on a crossfire, it's unlosable. But instead, Beastic gets aggressive. Forzy is in an AWP v AWP duel position, but yet doesn't have Tom Case that could swing on the contact. Very poorly played there from Sinners in the 4v2 advantage when they work so hard with the mid aggression.
That's going to sting. That is going to sting so hard for them. 14-10. Complexity now 2 away from the victory. And Sinners, of course, they have the buyback again. They have lots of cash to play with. That won't be the same in round 26 if they lose this one.
And that's always the uncomfortable factor when you're trying to come back into such a deficit, is that if you give away a sloppy round, you make a couple of mistakes, you could get punished hard for it, and you could just lose the map. Beastic, continuous jump spotting down towards that bottom of ramp position. He's got a teammate with him, in from Shock up to 51. The Sinners have got to keep the hurt on.
Beastic, hoping for a face, hoping for contact. We'll send that smoke up towards Shock as he gets an incendiary instead. Right call. Also gets sent down, he puts the incendiary deep instead. That will force Fang out, spray through against him and Junior. Grim gets tagged up a little bit as well. Sinners doing all they can to hold off.
Still so much utility for the T side. Surely one of these mollies go down to the sandbags.
And that they do. Grim puts it up. Counter smoke immediately in for Shock. 40 seconds to go. Look how close Beastic is. Grim and Co have absolutely no idea, but Beastic only gets one pick for it. Junior responds 4-on-4. The T still form up for the hit.
And in that distraction, Shock that was out towards the sandbags and now escaped. He's got back to A, and Zeko's getting aggressive.
Matches in against Forzy's position, doesn't even land. Fang fragged out of the rounds. Incendiary for Forzy, going to get back to the site itself. 16 seconds. Complexity have to commit, and they've got to commit right now. Junior caught. M4 a Shock, doubles up at all, and Floppy left to save. Might not even get the chance to do that. Zeko's gun barrel's been seen at least. Gets this exit frag. Swing out. Kill found. But no round, not for Complexity.
Oh, okay. Let's just settle down with the idea that it could have actually been a 12-13 deficit. You think back to that round even previously, and if that would have come through now with the response here, how much more of a leading position Sinners could have been in. It's a good response, though. I'll give it that much. Just saw so much impact out from Forzy with that AWP, and then the site players, too. Complexity is struggling to close in this second half.
14-11. And this is concerning for Cole. Won those first three of the T-side line. Sinners bouncing back with the rifles, though, and since then it's been a single round for Complexity. Need to change that right here and now. With only 3 that are different, Sinners are on to take full control of this. One AK for Floppy in this particular one as they prod towards the B side. Zedko's already found the first.
Slight missed opportunity. Floppy's desperate to try and establish that 1-for-1. Drop one of those B side anchors just so you can send it in. Have that quick adaption. And now, instead, you've got to cancel. Start working out towards ramp instead. And even Grim's numbers have slowed down quite a bit. I think we mentioned he was 23-10. He's now 25-15.
Their big star not doing much in this half. Floppy's not doing much either. Forzy's got 2 kills. So's Beastic. It's easy on the crossfire. Sinners dealing with Complexity. The guns come right back for the T-side. But you're looking at guys like Grim and obviously Junior, who was part of that 2 versus 5 earlier. Those 2 individuals, how they've had impactful rounds, impactful plays, and impactful numbers. Grim especially need to step it up now.
Haven't seen a lot of aggression on the T side. We've seen some aggressive util placements to the top of ramp, but not really any rushes. You wonder if that could be the opportunity. They're bringing the bomb outside of the B stairs while 3 players early go to ramp.
Warp set in here for Junior, hoping for aggression from the Sinners side, and passive position will not be gained for the time being. That's up passive. T-side players waiting for the CT swing.
Even just try to flash him off angle. You can see the aggressive approach from Beastic out to the sandbags. He is finding so much success there.
Fang fragged Junior, blind firing, trying to hope for shock somewhere. Bomb picked up on JT as he walks in with his teammates. Floppy forward to the AK. Against Zedko, the Molotovs will come down against him. He swings with U2 in hand. Floppy gets caught. Another frag to go the way of the Sinners side. He repeats against JT, who does find a responsive, but an instant smoke down at main. Grim to act out towards mid, gets 4Z, struggles with him, needs that double up, but Shock says no. And now the hit comes in for Complexity now.
They've got no other option. They have to act with this. 45 on the clock. Tom K's playing back passive. The man advantage to work with, and it stalls for a moment.
Shock does not see Junior past that smoke. Making noise though on both players' parts. Smokes on position, Junior. Clutching shot. Tom K spray through. JT trades it one-on-one. Bomb plant gonna come down. A backstab inbound from Beastie though. I don't think JT's read this. He might still rotate to the A side though.
It's a matter of timing. How much space does he find out towards spawn? Does he think that this could be the rotation? That's a good call, but Beastic's coming back towards ramp.
Hear the footsteps as well, knows that he's on his way. Play this slowly and carefully and quietly, not give away the information. Plant to ramp side as well. B-Stick leaning in, JT running right into him with his back turn, thinking he might have come from mid. Reality was very different. 13 to the board of Sinners. Complexity. They are so close to still taking this map, but Sinners now just about as close here.
IGL versus IGL in that clutch situation. Grim, he thought about the potential of a multi, a two-fragger to come through from that mid stance. Doesn't quite happen. Junior doing his best. JT too. And even for B-Stick, he over-rotated without any info. It was just a gut feeling. There was no sound cue whatsoever. They were too far spread from one another to even have that indication. And Complexity take another tactical. Sinners really clawing their way through. And this may be one of the biggest comebacks we've seen in the playoffs so far.
Definitely feels like in this particular matchup, it was a pretty one-sided one at that. Massive chance here for the CT side of Sinners, who started off so poorly. Down 5-10 at the half. (14-13) now. Complexity have been unable to get these last few rounds past the finish line. And this was the fear I was talking about. Sinners, guns in, AKs out for Complexity, need to win this round.
Shock, a little bit more aggressive towards that top's position, just spamming through in case anyone gets aggressive out of the gate. Tries to send it up for some early map control. But B-Stick's consistency around this ramp sandbags has just been on point so often in this second half.
Slowing it down though. Molotov sent in. Smokes put out to... Oh, the body block hurt there. Shock will know that this player's out in this position. Fang forced to use a smoke before he burns. Shock will back away, knowing that this T-side player is so close to him.
They weren't expecting that. Get the smoke down towards bridge and the molly too. They wanted just to take the map control. Instead, once they hear that the body block comes through, you just fall back and cancel. What a flash that is to the two mid players. That's so much information that Tom Case has found.
Ballsy firing away at the scaff position, repositioning to the stairs. B-Stick flashed in to look for info, seen at least the shoulder of one. Grim, however, strikes in mid, picks up Tom Case. Incendiary, immediate response from Fawzy. B-Stick struggles to get his kill here on ramp, and Complexity gain a two-man advantage.
Now they've just got to slow it down, start mimicking those over-rotations. Think about the regroup towards that bomb to A.
Pressing the issue up ramp. Sinners have aggression down towards the stairs. The AWP leaning in. Shock leaning out. Gets his kill, but burns alive. Grim now with the flank. Can cut off the rotator. Zedco, Fawzy, his AWP. He's watching Elevator. Tagged up to 27, and now Zedco can strike. 3 players remaining for Complexity. 10 seconds. AWP could deny the bomb plant, but no. It's all on Zedco to clutch. He sees JT, but the spray is better for the AK. And at long last, Complexity gets a map point.
And to think that Sinners have brought it back from 5-13 to even this sort of scoreline, it would be such a heartbreak if they don't actually come through, if they don't get the comeback all the way. You saw in that round, B-Stick gets punished for the overpeaks towards the sandbags, looking down to the bottom of ramp. It started off with Grim catching off Tom Case too. That was the opening pick in mid. And for Complexity, one more to go to close it out. Sinners try to force it to OT.
Zedco and Tom Case tagged down very low so early. Complexity taking their time, getting this one to match point and go over the finish line in general. But now they've refound themselves. A frag found. So much damage being done. They slow down the round.
This should be the closer. There is not many positives here for Sinners right now, and even the AWP pick comes through towards the top of the sandbags. You're getting desperate. You start making for info plays. You start hoping a bit of X factor comes into the mix. But for Complexity, they slow it down and play this default. This round is theirs.
At long last, seems like the end of this map is nigh. Complexity. Continue the prod as soon as trying to find a new line.
Forzy's just desperate to get a pick back to allow some breathing room towards A, and they're going to gamble stack on A. This might be the call.
Orp leaning in. Fang. Near down against him. Molotov set. 40 seconds. Forzy knows that my player must be close. It's Grim will lead the charge. 3 players on the site. Forzy overwhelmed. Shock flashed in. Just as blind as the T-side players were. Swing from Fang gets the 2 and Grim follows suit. 16-13 at long last. Complexity close out the map, but it should have been done much sooner, Dweck.
Indeed it should, and for Sinners it was a slow start. They gave us a little bit of glimpses in that second half to try and recover it from an 8-round deficit. them as well. So this is an opportunity to bounce back. But I'm still having quite a lot of support and backing for Sinners that they can take it to a third map, only because of the way that Vertigo closed out. They really got away with quite a lot and almost took the whole damn thing.
I'm certain this one's going to have a lot more in it than people might initially expect. Complexity with their flash and smoke on Junior and JT. The pistol basis for the T side starts. Sinners have util on Tom Case. No defuse kit for them. And Floppy with his P250 raid boss, 1 of 2 in play, leans in for the first tap on Forzy. Dismantles 1 out of 4 towards this crossfire in bracket. Zedco, however, the second man will peek forward and trade it to a 4-on-4. As meanwhile, the execution comes into the B sites.
So much top banana control used without even the util placement. So just get that bomb plant, have the late lurk in from the second mid. And now for Sinners, it's how much damage they can find in quickly before they get wrapped in.
Turning away. Shock holds the line as Grim gets B-stick, doubles up as he extends out towards construction, getting 2 of those frags to a 4-on-2 scenario. And now with no further chance, it feels like for Sinners, Complexity will take another pistol round. Shock does clap back, at least get 1 trade, but is so far away from the bomb site. Again, no kit for the retake. There's no chance.
And knowing how good of a first half Grim actually had out on that last map of Vertigo, I think it's going to be very proficient here for Complexity if they're able to kind of get that the same. Shock just looking for some exit damage, try and get as much out of this pistol as he can, but not to be. Ends up with a triple for Grim's perspective. So just trying to get a lot out of Grim, a lot out of Junior as well, because they were the impressive elements come that last map.
Pistol gain for Complexity, a positive start for the North American side. Again, they want to see here on this map. Their map pick, of course. Work it inland and make it a decent affair. A 2-0 is what they're ultimately looking for in this one. Sinners, the Eagles, and Famas back on the force buy.
Try and stack it up quite heavy over towards B. Actually fake it. They're going to leave all of the util placement for B-Stick to kind of work with. Now, he has to be careful about how aggressive he actually gets, because if he falls around this half wall, then there's no one to go back to get the util.
Molotov's in, B-Stick with a kill, trying to follow suit on Floppy, and he does dive out of the way in the end. 64 HP for the man, so not even a mass amount of damage, all things considered. For a commitment of Molotov, and I think a HE was thrown up there as well, escaped with quite a little.
Just knowing that Complexity don't have a crazy amount of information either, haven't got themselves into the apartments or into the brackets take as of yet. Starting to sell the fake with the smoke down to the long side and the regroup towards Banana. And now for B-Stick, knowing that he's got so many re-smokes down at his feet, he can just continue to stall time on the B-side XE.
That's what I'll do initially. Wait for contact against the next load of T-side players, lining up another smoke at the ready. Hold position for the time being as the Galil with the AK right behind him. Flopping on point, smokes up the position for B-Stick. Rotate back towards the coffins to hold a bit more of a directive engagement. Backup's on the way.
This is looking pretty good. They've now got Shock out to brackets that hasn't seen anything. You can get another smoke down, and Forzy's even got a HE.
He was at the ready. We'll put that up pretty close, do some damage. Not a mass amount, though. Flashbang forces him back as B-Stick still strikes for his 2K. Fang ready to go around the first boost, but instead just faces directly. The Flashbang doesn't catch him, so B-Stick is a dead man. A 4-on-3 scenario. Bomb can get planted. Tom Case looking to swing with his back. His turn to Grim, who tries to make it a double up, but no, Forzy lines both the remaining players back, and Sinners can steal the break.
I've been very happy with the creativity elements of Sinners over the course of both the first map and the second, coming away with some unorthodox setups, and right there, that's not really one that you expect very often. You leave a lot of smokes down there from the retreatment angle, and it's just delaying so much time. The FAMASs end up rotating back over, and Forzy with the boost up towards the flower pots is really the defining element to that, ending up with a triple.
Sprays through smokes and everything for the man. Wonderful lineup again. When you thought that Tom Case may have given up the angle the Sinners could have worked with, it just didn't quite end up happening that way. Well placed, well played, and of course 1-1 to the board. Sinners quickly equalize against Complexity, not giving them the chance to get this T side underway. Down to the eco pistols now with a couple of Deagles in for upgrades, sure. No Kevlar and no util to the commit.
Normally we would say double eco status for back and forth rounds, but of course because that bomb plant went down for Complexity, they aren't on double eco status. So lightly buy, allow yourself to get as much impact out of the 2 digs as possible, but look to get the rifle round come round 4.
Ballsy backs up towards Library. M4 watching the corner of Long. Shot with a smoke that can go down to brackets. Won't use it just yet here. He'll wait. Hold position with his teammates because Complexity are only just now starting to push the issue.
Very deep indeed, and Sinners have probably got the idea that they can't be up against much. Tom Case might think about a farming position from the bottom of Banana, and it might just be fed towards him. Complexity, starting to gain more long control, can entertain the idea of a B split through spawn.
Tom Case's SMG, B-stick firing through. The tags up will be heard by Tom Case. He only gets 1 kill for it, though. Trades are available for B-stick and Shock, however, maintaining the 4-on-2 situation. Oh, and the burst through, the quick adjustment to the headshot. Surprised that even B-stick got dinged down by that SMG, but needs most. No kill found against him in the second round. Goes to the border. Sinners, they have the lead.
Even B-Stick coming into today was the 59th highest rated player with a -7 KD difference across 14 maps and averaging a 1.0 rating. Came into the first map and was very solid. A lot of multi-frags, a lot of good calling from him, 26 to 19. This might be the best of 3 where we get more out of B-Stick.
Could well be. He's got the M4 in his hands. JT leaning in with the smokes down, the incendiary set. Nades up with B-Stick looking for the swing, sprays through, trying to catch the T-side players off, turning away from the initial flash, getting Floppy to fall, forced on a reload. JT with 1 pick and 2. Quick swing on Tom Case, and the B-side's open now.
Beautiful entry coming through from JT and just running with that pace. Big gap in the CT smoke, though.
Fawzy's seen 1 player jumping. JT may have been heard. Fawzy with the adjustment. Incendiary's back with a flashbang to try and go over, swing against the man, do some damage, but JT is hunting for his triple shock, gets 1 Grim, quick response. Fawzy so close, and Grim can double back of his own accord, grab that bomb and get that plant in. Zedco caught out towards mid against Fang. Thanks for contact, and Zedco will win that 1 fight, but take a lot of damage.
That was an insane duel from Grim. He was almost mid-air. You saw him jumping, and as soon as he lands, just instant connection with that headshot. I thought for a moment that there was going to be a way back in from Fawzy, especially towards a construction position with the crossfire being set from Shock. And maybe Sinners have to look at that last round and think, okay, we got caught off guard. We got caught sleeping while they were quite aggressive at the half wall and dealt with the first. How quickly did JT respond with 2 frags unanswered?
Similar story for Grim out to the site take itself. Try to bring it back there with the cross and copy positions, but ultimately not successful for the CT side. The Complexity back in at evens. The early stage of the game is very back and forth for the moment being. Wonder where the money sits right now for the CT side. With that AK involved, can they force the buy?
Zeko's got quite a lot around him, so he could actually probably drop a couple. Get a couple of M4s over to a teammate and hold on to the AK himself, so it still looks fairly solid.
Needs an AK for extra firepower on Zedco, and technically they have the better buy here, Sinners. Khalil in for Fang, the damage compounding against the Complexity side. Still on to gain momentum back on the CT forces. A lot of back and forth and a war of attrition that could easily break either side. Junior and Floppy have JT ahead of them here at the banana position. And no aggressive contact from Sinners this time. They'll wait on the site itself, wait for Complexity to make the swing, and they might go quick into the site for it.
Think about retaking some of this top banana control, turning away from the flashes, Floppy with the entry and a double entry too. I'm starting to feel as if there could be a slight exploitation towards this B side. And if JT starts recognizing it these last couple of rounds, we might see a lot of B hits from Complexity in the first half.
He's been soloing the entries on the banana position, so it wouldn't be shocking to me if he just went up there on his own right and then just called off the back of his death, or to the trades, or to the man advantage for the Complexity side. Hit B several times, and so far so successful for Colt. Fang with a lurk out towards the apartment. Shock would try and take him down, but the Galil is 1 better than the M4.
Doesn't seem like they're too hungry to go for the last couple of CTs. You don't really have that many aggressive positions being held from Fang, or even Junior's perspective. I mean, you could see for Fang, he was hanging outside of the apartments. It was the fight that came to him. So I don't know what the likelihood is. I would imagine quite limited of Zedco and Fawzy to fall. They should hold on to their weapons.
The M4 and AK staying in, and this time without the money bonus of the rest of the Sinners to bolster around. So probably an eco around these 2 rifles. The Complexity will start to stack up, start to make some headway in this T-side line on this map, their pick. Sinners can imagine that it will not be easier fight when the weapons come back. For now, though, it should be a formality.
Haven't seen any roster changes from Complexity this year either. They picked up the extra salt players of JT, Fang, and Floppy, and then obviously Grim came over from Liquid and Junior that was still a part of Fury at the time. Okay, it's a start. I mean, when you've got hero rifles and you've got a couple saved in, you want to maximize it.
Go for the peek out in a semi-passive position. Kill found a banana to remove Junior from play. So it's a start, and they swing with the pistols. Forzy gets 2 more. Okay. Was that say a formality? Perhaps not. The bomb's been dropped. And now the rest of them can rotate back here. Fang alone. Forzy's even swinging to go for the ace. He got a dink. He got a dink on Fang on that little HP. And now the CTs, they'll adjust.
What a steal this is shaping up to be when Sinners really did not have much to work with at all. And maybe the importance of going for the hunt for the last couple of players in the previous round, Jay, was a lot higher than what Complexity would have thought. You can't really say much about the AK, but certainly the M4 up towards that top of banana position, gets a quadra. And now for Fang, there's no way this round's coming.
Absolutely not. Try grab that bomb, try commit in some sort of fashion, but the 10 HP 1v3 is the big concern. This USP on shot could easily remove him, easily get the kill.
Maybe just take the AKs away, just chuck him over.
That could also be a decent shout. Save one for yourself. Charge forward and the Sinners could easily gain control of that. They seem to be pretty passive. They're waiting for him to go for the hit here. He will not do so, though. Back up towards the arch side here of Banana. Waiting on contact, waiting on a kill or two. Try swinging to grab those rifles. The AK on Tom Case. Oh, just removed by Fang, just about.
AK was picked up for a moment, but no longer. Fang not falling after time, he'll be happy about that one. Forzy, what a sequence that is from him. And it was just a slight double pump and nothing really too special about it. You get quite aggressive on the boost up to look to the half wall. They then flash forward, you peek with it, and he just keeps fighting, doesn't he? And the damage that he's able to find with a hero M4 is ridiculous.
Enables the buy for the Sinners. Complexity will force the issue back. Fang still rocking the M4. Charge up from Forzy again with the AWP this time. Doesn't get the frag, so not quite as lucky on the second occasion. CT start for Complexity here.
Very confident indeed. Very aggressive towards that top of banana control. B-Stick thinking about getting up to the top of the sandbags. Maybe up to the half wall as well. Complexity driving through these banana takes.
B-Stick looking to lean forward. Molotovs and flashes sent in. B-Stick blind as a bat. Floppy gets an easy swing and a kill. It's in the area to suppress them here on the CT side line. Stop the hit for the time being. Zedko, the only player left back towards the A site. Not going to have much emphasis towards him. Fang's luck could get the kill, but I think he suspects that there might only be one player back here, so Complexity will issue a rotate.
Can't fault that util at all towards the top of a half wall. That was on point. Molly was good. Flash was even better. And now for Zedko being the lone A player, unless he drops the bomb and gets a couple of kills, this round's finished.
Out of quad, Grim seen him. Bomb's been spotted as well. CT's better rotate right now because Zedko is all alone. Flashbang's going over with the smokes back. Going away to the site itself. Look for Grim. Counter flash over. Kill found. Headshot seen. Now deep into the site to get some harder cover. Try fighting to the man at Cubby. Zedko's doing pretty decently well, all things considered. JT does get overwhelmed with damage, but the kill comes back for him. So Complexity take the site. 4-on-2 situation. Sinners best to save.
You could tell they'd already given up on that one, especially when the info starts coming through. Tom Case and Shock just didn't want to rotate because they know, to be honest, it's not going to happen, mate. We'll just have to leave you. If you end up getting 3 kills and a bomb plant, then we'll go in for the retake. But unless you have a monster sequence, we're not going because it's not worth it. You realize where the economy is, your double eco status, so they got no money in the bank. Tom Case might have to drop an MP9, Shock might do the same, Zedko can buy. They'll have to force around it.
Yeah, no loss bonus, no savings, no choice. The better thing to do. Certainly better considering what the alternative is and what the long-term game has to show for it. Fourth to the board of Complexity. Again, they hold on to the lead just about. This early game has continued to be blow for blow, though. Both sides taking as much as they can when they can. And to be fair to Sinners, the last time they had 2 hero rifles, they were able to win the round, Blake, so I'm not going to count them out just yet.
No, you can't. I don't think you can in the majority of these playoff games. Anytime you've got force-ups, you always have to keep an open mind. It's still looking fairly solid. Could be aggressive down mid.
Send the M4 and the AK flying up. Beastic will take the damage. Flashes in against Junior's position. He'll get forced away. Zedko with the kill to start. Grim will get 2 on the turn. And just like that, the rifles have been dropped.
Even Shock hasn't been seen. Trying to see if he can aggress further forward. There's a late wrap coming through from Fang to the other side of the apartments. Now, in this position, he can continue to hold aggressive and just keep the 2 players down on B. But now they're going to walk back into mid, and he should be able to spot this.
I'm aware of Fang already crossing, hearing the footsteps of Grim on the rotate. He is going to wait, though, and they're going to go right behind his back. When does he turn around? Does he turn around?
He's expecting the apps pop. Junior with the orb's been seen, and now Shock's got to look out towards that right-hand side, but no, maybe he didn't hear Grim.
Clearly not. Or at least thought that he wasn't going to be in the apartments at the most. Either way, the kill is found. The bomb goes down. There's Deagles for the retake here on the CT side. It's just nothing that the Sinners can do here. Maybe look up towards top mid, grab that 1 rifle that was dropped. Second one of the dead CT player as well. So some little bits here and there. Maybe even the AWP if you want to extend out towards brackets, which you could well do. Would be a relatively successful round. For Nico at least, but best you can afford right now in this given circumstance. 5-3 to the T-board.
Saw quite a lot of Inferno in the main Swiss for the Sinner side against X-Mad Lions in the first round. They had it as a third map decider. 7-16 loss, unfortunately, from them. They played 7-7. We used to call them the Kings of Elisa. One of the teams that we could never doubt. Unfortunately, they've had a bit of a dip in form. Weren't able to even make the playoffs this time around. That was a 16-4 result for Sinners, their map pick. And then played it once more against EC Kyiv in the game that actually advanced them into the playoffs. The round 5 game of Swiss. The 16-14 on Inferno.
Sinners really came here the long way around, didn't they?
They did.
This map featured of their own accord. It's whether they can adjust towards it and turn it into their favor on this CT side. For now, it is Complexity that hold dominion over them. And upgrade pistols into round 9. Only the 1 in 4 save for B-Stick. Fast charge into the A site, wasting virtually 0 time getting the brackets at least. Forzy escapes with a kill, and Shock through the smoke finds Fang the same. So advantage here for Sinners. Rotates back from the other 2 CTs. They're aware of the water is coming through, and Shock is still taking tags, looking for frags as well. Floppy is low. Oh, he caught a collateral with that Deagle. And just like that, Sinners show up from the deficit again. Junior surrounded. Zedko ends him, puts him out of his misery.
My goodness, what a steal that is. And for Complexity, we haven't seen much pace towards A. We've seen pace towards Banana, we've seen slow brackets control. They just send it. This is so aggressive, and look at the compromise. So much damage being done. The lineup for the dig, the backstabbing Zedko that they didn't know was in the apartment. And Complexity, the fiery pace on the anti-eco does not work out at all.
That was so sick. And Sinners just keep fighting back. They don't want Complexity to hold much of a lead here. This CT side is trying to do everything it can. Complexity, of course, continuing to have buys here, but they must start getting frustrated at how many rounds the Sinners have stolen.
Perhaps, but we also need to concern what their strengths have been in rifle v rifle rounds. That's where Sinners need to capitalize, because you're all right. It's steals, and we call them steals because they're rounds you shouldn't be winning. Complexity. So much respect given to them in this default. Nothing aggressive whatsoever from Sinners.
Bang set into the apartments, trying to lurk out. They rotate back and grab that bomb to join the main T side force for the execution into the B site itself. Sprays from Tom Case, B-Stick with the nades, suppressing Complexity for now. Less than a minute to go, and they do rotate away from Banana.
Fang's just waiting for a timing. Zedko has been seen. Surely he did.
Oh, Lord. How long does he wait? Does he wait forever? Does he wrap around? He says there might be a player in apartments. Oh, how much do they know? Zedko's missed the mark on the main mid force though. Forzy, his AWP thinks he might be safe. Fang's perfect chance to swing to provide support, and Zedko does capitalize with a kill. Forzy playing destruction against JT, catches Grim. Now Fang can strike, get his double up, and open up the site, but they've lost so much here, Complexity. Fang still fighting, needs to get shocked soon. The bomb's also got to go down.
Junior's got to get the bomb down and get that smoke down to Moto. Buy some cover. Even Fang on low HP from Pit. The best he has to do is try and set up the AWP.
Nades sent into Junior's general position, missing out entirely. Counter nades won't do much either. Fang is low HP, hiding out towards Pit as the AWP waits for a boost, hopes for contact in at long.
No kills yet coming through from Junior in this entire map so far. This could be the time to prove it.
Incendiary sent in, Junior waiting, flashes go over. Seaside players about to peek. Fang with a kill against Beasting. The shot rings out, but the AWP misses. Fang's overwhelmed. Junior gets it to a one-on-one. Shot so close. The headshot angle seen. Junior just playing Ring of Roses, banging him out and getting the no-scope shot. Complexity extend to 2 again.
There is so much to faffen in a round like that. So first of all, it seemed like the feat in the apartments got seen. It did not at all. Zedko gets so far forward, and Forzy's got to be annoyed. This is a 5v2. This is a round that you really should not be losing. Obviously, the positional advantage works really well from Fang because they went past one another in the apartments. But when you think about Complexity and how many times over the course of this series, Jay, they've brought back these 2vx situations out of nowhere, it's a consistent thorn.
When Sinners found the insertion point as well, Zedko pushed all the way out to apartments, evaded Fang. Found the frag that should have thrown Complexity completely off. They lost so much with that crossfire, with the AWP prodding in from short and everything. The Americans not ready to fall just yet. B-Stick now at the half full with AWP support from Forzy. No boost. Boost, kill, start, follow-up not there for B-Stick. Flackton instead, and Floppy will fall the same.
Strong protocol there from Sinners. Get the flash off as soon as the contact comes into the half wall. And now for Grim, there's a slight more acceleration towards A. They want to prod.
Oh, shock falls to Grim's quick peek. AWP of Forzy will get smoked off. Takes a quick pop shot and Grim crosses. Oh, no scope through the smoke. Fang's dead and Grim and Junior a 2-on-4 situation. They have brought back a 2 versus 5 here, and Grim will try his hand at it. Get his double up. Now leave it onto the AWP. Once again a clutch. Another no scope in this round. That's 3 in the last 2. Plant down at default. Will tank an aid, but now set for the clutch.
And now it's where's the reposition. Beastic coming through from the apartments. Tom Case from short.
Junior watching short. Here's the footsteps. Sees the jump. Catches the frag, but not aware of that. Beastic comes in with a double. And there'll be no clutch for Junior on this one. Can get the defuse kit. Can grab rifles otherwise. AWP already in his hands. And that will be a 5th for Sinners. Continuing to go back and forth against Complexity. Last 4 rounds have been back and forth.
Shouldn't have really been possible. I'm not really sure how that shot comes through from Forzy, but he's smoked off in arch. You can't imagine that he's just going to get a no-scope through the scope like that, but it does happen. But you're right about Complexity's standpoint. I guess for a positive, knowing that it's your map pick, the more back and forth that it goes on the T side, the easier it's going to be to break the economy of the CTs. And we can see that by the next buy up, at least from the Sinners' perspective. An MP9, after just winning a round, yeah, they got the AWP out, but they're still on not the best.
Both buys broken, but Complexity more broken than Sinners, and Shock will prove it alongside Zedko. Quick kills in from Fang and Floppy. 5-on-3, found immediately.
Sinners have been really charging their foot in these last couple of rounds to gain opening man advantages. Grim is getting a lot of respect to the end of the apartments, though.
Leaning in, Zedko not being spotted. He is now Grim. How many times he adjusted these headshots? JT chiming in from brackets. Forzy's AWP is ready to cut him off, but the AK swings. And Complexity keep finding and making magic.
If they do this again, Sinners are going to be hard tilt. There should be no way they lose this round. Even JT is pressed with Grim. They're going to fight together.
Oh, and they almost line up for the likes of B-Stick, but Tom Case will hold it together just about. 6-all to the board. Complexity making these rounds as tight as you can possibly get.
It's a very scrappy game, that has to be said. Both teams really trying to cinch victories off one another in some of these close rounds. Feels very awkward in some of the trading game too. And for Sinners, They should have felt as if that round was a lot easier for the taking, that there's a 5-on-3 advantage, that aggressive approaches come down. JT, I mean, even the peek onto the AWP, it's a lovely pre-angle. Grim trying his absolute best to recover the round, the coach coming through, and for Tomcase, even though we're maybe not seeing the numbers being posted from him, we've seen the impact for the last couple of rounds.
Forzy picking up the first of Grim, forcing best for Complexity here, trying to break Sinners one more time. First rifle's fallen already. Will get picked up by Floppy very quickly off the back of that, but Sinners taking no damage, continuing to aggress out to Banana.
Even Fang just has to cancel, doesn't have the support around him. A lot of players down for the back, they don't know about this.
Galil faced in, B-Stick Tomcase. Floppy also gets a trade, a 4-on-2, however, he's low HP and everything. Tomcase is so ready for this. Shock still dealt with by JT. What is his first bullet accuracy for Complexity every single time they take a prod?
JT needs more, though. And even Zedko is in a position where he's so back passive, dealing with 2 low HP players should be an easy entity. It's whether they can even get into spawn. I mean, Forzy's holding for a very deep wrap in Speedway.
Might just get it as well. In from long is where the Tears will aggress. Walk forward, trying to bait out for JT, but Floppy's also seen. And both shots connect for the 3K Sinners. Now have a lead.
We know that Forzy averages a 1.18 rating in the last 3 months of Inferno across 16 maps played. 8 wins and 8 losses, always towards the higher end. And we've seen a very good performance from him. You probably have to say the best player in server, at least in this map. Finding so much with those AWPs.
Pistol eco basis for Complexity. Forzy again striking first with the SMG, just charging down from mid, taking no prisoners. Moving no witnesses. Grim, however, wants to light back, only temporarily though. 4 players alive for the Sinner side. And they have the half on this one. Going into the last of the half was an investment for Complexity.
And we saw just in the tail end rounds of the back and forth streak, there wasn't, I guess, double eco status, but Complexity wanted to force by a couple of rounds in a row because they saw the potential of that instant reset. And because it doesn't come through, you've now obviously seen the ease come out of the last couple. Allows Sinners to perhaps get up 9-6, and that would have to be looked at as a very good scoreline in the first half.
M4 Zedko leaning in first. Held back towards that short position. Rotating away from the T side line. Complexity. It's a prod forward initially in the apartments and boiler angles as the flashes come through, they check brackets, then they fall back.
Smoke off long in case the AWP wants to relocate over. It's a lack of information as of right now. Forzy thinks that long actually has been taken, but instead Complexity's just run the clock, left a single lurker Fang around the boiler and apartment's entrance. The rest of them are taking a B-side contact.
Incendiaries at the ready spot in the headshot, B-Stick back, JT swung, kill found. Floppy gets out of dodge as Fang and Grim start trading, 3-on-3 situation. B-Stick is such low HP in the back of the site, and Grim tries to hunt him down, not ready for the advanced angle, still gets the kill. Forzy, blind spray, dishing damage, but not finding the pick. Still, the re-smoke comes back, and Grim connects to triple. Zedko stands alone.
Even Fang just toying with him, wasting so much time, has to charge down mid, and there's so much info with this. Needs to deal with the low HP player of Fang before can even think about going over to the side, and that's just pulling so much more time off the clock of the bomb.
Not much that Zedko can try and do here. Try isolate Grim. Junior knows that he's in an advantage, so he falls away. Grim takes contact. Both players are here towards the banana crossfire. The kill is found against Junior, but Grim peeks him way too quick. Disallows Zedko a chance to transfer. 4 kills for him at the turn of the round, and an 8-7 half in for the Sinners advantage.
And just thinking about Grim and how much success came through when we saw him out on the city side that first half of the first map when it came to Vertigo, 18-8, seemed like he was an absolute monster, putting so much damage down. And now obviously what we've seen come out here to the first half of Inferno, it's
See whether they can hold their line. Single round difference as the pistols go live. JT, double flash, defuse. Utility on B-stick. 1 P250 for Forzy.
Very aggressive out towards Banana for the CT perspective. And now the flash is going to pop. They don't commit fighting with it, though.
Great timing on those flashes. Zedko was jump facing for information. Didn't see any of it. Didn't get a shot off either as the boost up comes through and JT deals with it. Tom Case, first to fall. Grim continuing to swing. Sees one man at Forzy, gets him to drop. Zedko two on the lineup, makes it a triple, and just like that, Sinners just pull the Uno reverse card, turn the whole situation around.
That's just over peeking galore. You got a 5v3 advantage. Play the numbers, play the crossfire, and then just start peeking individually. Zedko even on for a little bit more. Junior trying to get into position. Look how far his teammate is away, though.
Taps on the USP, Zedko gets his headshot. Quadra on for the ace. Shocks on the backstab. Fang might just feed him out towards construction, though the Glock starts tapping and Shock will get forced away as Zedko waits in. Not the ace for him. And Fang still up for the retake here, but forced back into C2 spawn as well. Got B-stick on the site that will just sit pretty and wait for him. Moving forward, taps to the P250s, unawares of where he's come from. Sees him now, swing out. P250 finds the pick, and Sinners find 9.
Sloppy coming through from Complexity there. They didn't need to overpeak. They'd already fought so hard for the opening couple of advantages, the boost up, and then Grim. Yeah, they know Zedko's aggressive, just fall back. Play the crossfires, they just fed him. And anytime you give an opportunity like that to one of these star individuals of Sinners, whether it's a Forzy, whether it's a Shock or a Zedko, they're going to punish you. And we saw it in that round. What a recovery that is from Sinners.
Complexity losing control of that situation. One man got all the trades, and now they're down to the force and best here for the CT side. At least the nade stacks have worked out relatively well. Damage done to Forzy. Not much else.
Very similar stance of what we saw B-Stick doing in that second round in the first half. A lot of smokes down at B. Stall for a lot of time. Keep the gamble stack on A as of right now. 2 players towards the long position too. Now Tom Case has been able to gain top Banana control, but he doesn't have any support with him. It's just him, just on a lurk.
Lean forward on Shock. Spots out towards that short position. Smokes are set to suppress as the T's start to stack into brackets control. Scout for Junior for first contact. Smokes will get set towards long. Counter smoking back towards short here. Will they press ahead of it? Yes, they will. Make their way quickly into the site. Junior backs up, back up as arrives. Scout Shot connecting minimal damage. Fang and Grim, however, get those kills. Zedko and Shock respond. Still a Deagle on site. Doesn't go for long. JT and Floppy, last 2 left.
I think they might have to go for this, in all honesty. 2v3, JT's in a very advanced position towards Boiler. If the frag presents itself onto Forzy, that could be the cue.
Able to find the shot back, however. JT holding in the apartments and Floppy wants to save the head. Kevlar probably the right call to make here, especially as now both players have been dinked down, 37 and 30 HP respectively. Not around for Complexity. Sinners now to 10. CT side yet to get started.
Now you start entertaining the idea that Sinners are going to push this further forward and into a third map. Almost makes you feel a little bit disappointed for them that they weren't able to get that comeback forward again. When you think back that they were down 5-13 and they press it to 29 rounds, it shows how much more of a resurgence there was in that second half, but just wasn't quite the case. And now coming here on Complexity's map pick, they've got off to a good start in the second half. They've won the pistol and the force buy. And I can't see much happening in the next round.
No, probably not. P250s, Deagles, CZs, and if this was Sinners, I'll give it a chance because we've just seen like 3 or 4 anti-eco or half-buy rounds go well for them. Complexity, though. We find anything on the CT side, let alone with these kind of buys. Stack into the B side for 4 individuals. They've left Junior as the solo defender of A. The default prod does initially lean towards B, but the bomb's yet to commit.
All a matter of timing of when Forzy starts realizing that there's a bit more of a stack-heavy play involved towards B. And when does Floppy start to strike? Surely on the contact to JT.
Taps forward, Floppy tapping his way through with Grim also taking the prod back. They're aware of the 3 players out here. Grim only gets a frag. And now the CT of Fang, the CZ of Fang, ready to try and hold his own position. With the HP being where it is for Sinners, his chances are second to none.
Looked as if they would probably get a bit more than they did in this sort of round when you got a gamble stack, when you got the Deagle peering down to the top Banana players, having the idea that there could be a rat play involved, but Shock is still there, quicker to the trigger. Now Junior's the last defender over towards the A site. Sinners getting up to 11.
Plant down for Zedco to be secured. Junior shouldn't be able to do much, but he might as well send himself at the site, try to get an exit frag or two. Try and have some impact because they're not saving much of anything into the next round. The buy-up will be there for the Complexity side. Sinners happy to hold on to 11.
Both teams have got very deep map pools, and both teams don't typically try and stick to 1 or 2 in Pacific and kind of go different directions depending on who they're playing. But there was a portion of time, a month ago, maybe even a couple of months ago, where Inferno was the most picked map for Sinners in their entire pool. They are definitely a team that play it quite frequently. It's one of their highest played in the pool as well. And if you keep in mind that this is played 16 times, now going into the 17th of Inferno, even Overpass has played 22 times in the last 3 months. And when you compare just the maps and the amount of officials and events playing between the two, Sinners outweigh Complexity by a country mile because obviously they play so many more of the online EU Cups.
All those results to pull from, all that research that you could do from our perspective and from Complexity, in theory, could give them a leg up here. So far, that's not been the case in the second half on the CT side. But now that the gun's out, they can have their impact. The Orpa Junior, the M4s and the others, AKs across the border, Sinners. Leaning in towards the mid-control, the Incendiary, just stall them temporarily. The nade's a bit more effective, though.
Seems as if it actually could be a pop tactic, something quite quick into this brackets take. Junior's going to get flashed off angle.
Back to the site, repeat for the shot against Zedco. Fang on rotate, Grim does get overwhelmed. Junior still to the site though. Shots in, missing out. Beast, it comes up with a triple and he transfers back to Fang and gains the advantage in the site for the Sinners. Forzy now lurking in from brackets in the middle of the smoke. CT's about to clear. Easy, easy kills for him.
Oh, they just got rolled. They got absolutely spanked in around like that. When it started off so well, Junior peeks in, allows the AWP to get the freedom and the free range of the first pick. Fall back defensively. I want to see the spray transfer from Beasting onto the third player. Oh, yes. That is lovely onto Fang.
Works well. 4-12. Five rounds the difference. 5 pistols out for Complexity. The outlook does not look great for them. Sinners started in this T-side half with decimation and they continue to carry it forward. Again, the nades will be placed decently, but they haven't led to picks here for Complexity.
JT just jiggling down onto the angle. Another fast B play. Look at how aggressive this is from Sinners.
Oh, Floppy getting a kill behind the smoke. Felt like that was going to be the start of things for Complexity, but Shock, Forzy, and Zedco managed to maintain control of the scenario. 3 trades back in a 3-on-2 now to the favor of the T-side. The pistols will lean in. Grim and Fang leaning up, grabbing rifles. The AK in the hands of Grim, but Shock catching him in the back of the head, leaving Fang alone in the 1v3.
This is an explosive T-side from Sinners, and it just beats so much more pace than what we've seen previously when we think about map 1, when we think about the first half of Complexity on T. So much quicker, so much acceleration. And now even Fang just trying to make it as expensive as possible. Thought for a moment with Floppy's double there might be something, but not to be. And do you know what this is giving me a lot of vibes of, Jay? The last game. The game we literally just saw a few hours ago between X-Mad Lions and Eternal Fire, that you've got one map that was really close and one map that was very one-sided. And well, we all know how that one went down.
The difference is the one-sided map was the pick of the team, or the victory of the team that picked it. This might end up being a one-side to the favor of Sinners, and Complexity's own pick will fall out of favor. Wouldn't be the first time that's happened. And I expect more out of a CT side. I'm really stunned that Complexity haven't done much right here. Nice for the rifles of Zedco. trying to catch off Fang, doing a little bit of damage as he falls back, and Junior watches the cross of long shot, missed out from the AWP, trying to duck out of the way. Now Grim's got to provide support, gets only one kill before he's traded, and Zedco sees exactly where Fang is. 4-on-2, it's 14 for Sinners.
I don't want to be this guy, but it's done, mate. This map is done. After seeing that round, you can just tell. The fact that Sinners have got so much confidence, they are sending it. They are going so quickly in towards that long take for a split into A. And for Junior, he's got to perform. He has to hit that shot. And he struggled on this map of Inferno. Down to 5 kills, 16 deaths. And as soon as you exploit the AWP path, they just crunch so far forward, getting the sharp entries, and now even putting pressure onto the last CTs at B.
Get those exit kills, remove those individuals from play. Floppy known, JT lesser so. Shot gonna try and find him regardless. While he's in, Floppy does get that one exit frag. Forzy can't find the exit himself, so a little bit of damage being done to the T's, but nothing major. They got so much cash that it won't really matter. Complexity's concern is the scoreboard. Their first tactical finally called. I think it's coming very, very too late.
I agree with you there. You think about this second half, there's been 6 rounds in a row, not a single CT won, and there's been lack of successes. The only rounds that have kind of come up close have been some ecos where there's some glimpses, and knowing that they save 2, you want to force buy, you don't want to play for OT, you know that you've got money in the bank. Yeah, you won't get an AWP and Fang will be limited onto a FAMAS, but you have to back yourself with the confidence to get the buy up. And if we just compare the AWPers to, I know obviously Forzy's been doing a lot of rifling. You've got Junior at 5 kills. Look at Forzy on the other side. 23 and 11. We've had electric moments from him, both in the first half and even the second when he's got the AK in his hands.
All to compound to concern.
And where's Grim too? We literally had that exact same conversation towards the end of the first half.
At least he's having a number of better frags here in this second half. It's not quite like the extremities of that first map. But for Complexity, it's yielded 0 rounds here. 0 rounds on the CT side. Got to think about how that map ended up ending over on Vertigo, and you feel like, oh, maybe actually this could be a 2-0 for the Sinners. At the end of it, you said it was a possibility. Seeing how things transpired, I see where that possibility could lie. Grim and JT at least get a couple of picks in and out of the apartments pop. The bomb's going to try commit, however, and should get plant down. JT on the site, though, being challenged by Forzy, and Tom Case is already out towards Pit, isolating Fang, getting that frag. The rest of the CTs are also here.
And now Sinners are trying to bring back what Complexity have done in the past of these 2vx wild situations. Tom Case drops that bomb out towards Pit, and Forzy's just looking for damage. Not to be, that's a very good stance against the apps pop. You saw a lot of players down on that short position, no one down at Big Pit, no one in Mini, and it just meant that as soon as that spin around came through, once they heard the footsteps and, of course, heard the flashes coming out over the top, they swing on the contact, they then even apply themselves to force down towards the brackets position into mid, and Complexity handled themselves to their first round on the city side.
A very late first round, but a first round regardless. One out of many that they're going to need to try and bring this back from the brink. Sinners reinvested to round 23. Not a lot of damage taken by Complexity there, so they can get their full guns out once again. Need to hold on to them as much as possible.
You'd have to say, excellent tactical pause. Look at what the response has been now for Complexity. It's whether they can follow it up and make it a few rounds in a row. They've taken the banana control, and Fang's decided to go a little bit more back passive rather than playing up on the half wall. And with that in mind, they can keep 4 players down on the A side.
A hard stack in for it. I've got Fang backed up to the B site. Smoke's being sent over towards long to try and isolate one angle of attack. Molotov sent into Floppy's position on short, and he gets driven away.
Just driving the CTs further back. Zedco with the timing. Just walks through the long position, looking at multi-frag, and a lot of damage is done to JT, but not quite 2.
Yeah, he almost got that. That would have been the easy entries, leaving it all towards the last man of the back site. Grim would be all they have to get through to get the Acre play. Floppy will catch shock on the long controls, extends out short. Frag back to the man advantage, and Sinners fall back.
Even B-Stick missed that timing. Resmoke going down towards the top of Banana. It might just have to be a commitment towards B with the split in. They're really running the clock in around like this.
Tom Case to play the bait, draw attention towards that B site. Molotov sent in as well. Second player will divide things up, 2 players per site. Tom Case entering back from CT, go for the rat play. 10 seconds though, Beastic sees them both and overwhelms. The bomb plant will be secured. Complexity caught looking the wrong way at the wrong time. Tom Case finds JT, and this will be map point.
They have been simply outclassed in this second half. That was such a great distraction to come through to the B side. The way that he puts the smoke down to CT, the molly out towards the new box. And what does he do? He doesn't fight, goes through the city smoke, fights the rotations, and for the A-site players, they just get caught off guard, don't they, Jay? Not sure where they should be, repositioning, double kill, comes through from the long position, and Forzy is just got enough time to get that bomb plant. That is absolute perfection from the Czechs.
7 rounds to make up to OT. Oh boy for Complexity. This is going to be one tough grind, I'll tell you that. And they have to readjust their protocols, because or at least their defensive line, because the reason why they got so overwhelmed in that round was Beastix playing from long. They weren't expecting him to be there. No one had their eyes set until far too late. Left long completely open for Siniz's map control. At least they have a buyback here. One that they need to extend all the way till the end. 7 map points for Sinners. Map 3 is calling.
This is the opportunity right for the taking here. Sinners, HE placement onto Junior. Zeko on the other side. Junior does find the pick, and they don't know about Grim.
They do now. Forzy just found the frag. Shock waiting for Fang to also extend in from the boiler position. JT was extending out towards Banana. And Shock will get caught. So once again, Complexity have the advantage.
Now they've got to start working this banana control. You'd have to imagine no site presence towards A now. And with only 1 player here to defend a Floppy with only a smoke, he could be overwhelmed if they all swing him together.
Floppy just baiting. Prodding for info initially, seeing the smokes come down to the cross. Has only got a smoke for counter util. Wants to pick above all else. Smoke on the site will come out by him, a bit of harder cover. Smoke down towards Cross and Coffins, however, have suppressed him out of the site.
Oh, Beastic's got aggressive towards CT. At least he catches one of the rotates, but the trade is back instant from Floppy.
Known here towards the church position, spray through on the bomb plant position, but unable to get a kill or even a tag for that matter. Force back, Forzy can extend forward to the AWP. Flashing against him will also get him out of dodge. 4 points of health now as he ducks and dives out of the position. Ordeal battle is somehow still won by him. Trying to look for that second, and now Tom Case to try and hold it together. The coach to stand in for the Sinners side. 2 player swing. Oh, the transfer was almost there, but Fang keeps it together and keeps Complexity alive.
Wonderful effort coming through from Tom Case to be able to line it up. You've got himself in a state where he's just in a very good off angle, not over peaking. He hasn't been seen from the pillar, and even that Orp v Orp face really thought that there was something building into the round. The Sinners go in for the B-side Xe, and perhaps the slight passiveness from Floppy out to that construction position did make a huge difference in the round. Fang on low HP, red HP, finally connects it. And for Sinners, they're right back in with the buy.
So much money to play with. Complexity are going to need a number more rounds that are more confident than that in order to break the economy state of Sinners. Bomb plant bonus doesn't help them either. Initial damage done to Shock and Forzy down to 90 and 80 respectively. Orb of Junior watching the brackets entrance, expecting Forzy to be the man to prod out the Orb v Orb battle. Will it get one by him? It's Tom Case and JT that go back and forth towards Banana meanwhile.
Good opener coming through from the coach once again. Junior slightly widening up on the angle, but it's very silent. This is one of the slower rounds from Sinners. Really want to run the clock, try and drain some of that util. At least Complexity know that brackets has not been exposed, but Forzy is ready for the over-aggression.
Flash thrown over. Junior gonna wait. B-stick caught by JT as he continues to be defensive, and the Orp will start the rotation back. Fang starts to push forward. Grim holding out the apartment's entrance, and Forzy's footsteps are heard. But just footsteps, nothing more.
Even Grim on the balcony does not want to get shut down by any sort of apps pop. Sinners thinking about regrouping with one another. Time is starting to dwindle down. 40 seconds.
Fang ready. Shock scene, headshot found, 2 left in the round for Sinners. Zedco will trade back, leg shot on Forzy, will stall for extra time. Grim now set and ready, but Junior continues fragging, picks up his kill. Forzy's dead to rights, and Complexity starting to bring this back.
Now you wonder, is it a struggle to close for both of these teams? We saw the issue from Complexity out in the first map. We're now perhaps seeing that issue from Sinners come the second map here of Inferno. The money situation without a bomb still looks okay, so gonna try and buy it up, give yourself a round of as much potential as possible. A couple of AKs being saved in for Complexity in that last, and you start thinking to yourself, how close can this scoreline really be?
It's down to the wire if you want it to be. Complexity certainly wanted to go to overtime. Still 5 more to get there. And a broken bye for Sinners. If they can get this one past the finish line, if they can get round 26, that could be the reset they're looking for.
And I thought this would have been one of the quicker rounds, to be fair, knowing that you've got a Tech 9, knowing that you don't have the best of utility at all. Have something a little bit more explosive, but instead it's back to the passive nature. Out to the banana take, has been very silent so far. Get the molly up towards a corner in case an AWP is standing on the post. JT's going to start rotating, but slowly. Does not want to make any noise.
Doc's thinking of leaning. The mid control with the bomb on his back. AK set with the smokes down towards Bracket's entrance. It will cancel any rotates that they had. As Junior starts the stack up towards the B side, it'll be 3 players to defend the XE.
Oh, JT gets picked off guard, and Forzy goes for the double entry. Now the B-side's opened up completely. The flash is so good, and Junior falls. This is it. This is going to be the 16th.
Nothing that Grim and Fan can do about it. They'll have to try because they don't have a choice. Forzy's 2 entries with the AWP now set to the Quadra exits. Seeing Fang's gun barrel connecting his shot. Turns away from Grim as I think he might be back towards CT spawn. Can lean forward, but he's being so tentative about this, trying to prod the issue. Turn back in with one of the rifles now. Shot leans in, gets his frag. All 5 alive. A flawless round. We go the full distance in this one, but I can't say that we're too shocked at the moment, the way we did expect that this could have been a possibility for the likes of Sinners to bounce back and do what they did, almost did over on that Vertigo map, so Overpass being the last one of the best of 3 series. I feel like we're in for a very similar ride because it has been very similar over the course of this series so far.
On the day performance is going to be very important because I look back at the recent results on Complexity and like they were saying on the desk, Astralis and OG, there's some good teams and beating them does prove quite a bit. But then we also look at what we've seen so far and it's been the Grim Show and only the Grim Show. And knowing Sinners have got more consistency across the board and on this map, I'm still backing them.
And knowing that Grim has consistently fallen off in the second half, right? You're looking at this map and thinking the best you can look for is a very good half to kick things off, and then from there, everything goes to hell for Complexity. It wouldn't shock me if that was the case once again right here and now. Potential and finally get a victory on the board to break their losing streak to progress to the semi-finals. It's Overpass against Sinners and the pistol round.
And we saw against Ecstatic in the playoff round 1 game, a T-side start from Sinners where they got 9 rounds, struggled on their city side. That's not normally the case, so I wonder, was that a one-off?
Pistols in for Complexity to find out. Locks in with the utility for JT and Junior. Grim with the raid boss P250 USPs. With Forzy taking first face, dealt with at the first blow. Frag found for Complexity, and now they've shot into the B site. Zedco is checked by Floppy, so a 5-on-3 has been gained. Shock playing around the pillar, has backup on the short control, but the T's back away themselves.
No surprises of opening man advantages, something that have been so good, but Sinners are fighting back, and this isn't surprising either. Bomb dropped down to the open, Sinners with all the information in the world.
Complexity have regained the man advantage in that one, though. Shock swinging out to see the bomb's position. Knows it hasn't been picked up, and Grim with that drive-by. Triple found of the round for him. Tom Case now with the defuse kit in the 1 versus 3 clutch. Sees Grim, gets another headshot, kicks things off for him in this matchup. Now looking for a little bit more. JT with a swing towards the short position, but the headshots aren't gained this time around. The adjustment's too inaccurate, and the pistol is gained by Complexity.
For a moment there, you think there's a way back in for Sinners. A couple of opening picks come through. They get a 5-on-3. Floppy even checks that surf position close up towards the right-hand side of Monster, and then Shock is able to deny the bomb, get it out into the open. You've got some aggression from B-Stick, but it's Grim again, and you wonder how much more support is actually going to follow Jay coming into this final map, because already he's off to a flyer.
Gonna start off for Complexity side. Of course, Sinners have bounced back many times over the course of these forced buy breaks, these half investment rounds with the pistols and the SMGs. Scout in for Forzy, taking the first shot. His back was turned to Grim, who almost caught him with the head. Only attack this time, though. Might walk right into the hands of B-Stick. They flash over the Galil, ready for it. The B-Stick does find the frag, so there you go. That's the point.
Playing anti-flash and now has an opportunity of aggressing forward to get up to that Galil eventually. Doesn't want to face too far forward, even re-smoke down. Grim might trap him, though. This is a good sandwich play.
Never mind, B-Stick gets a double, unaware of the third man. So JT can grab that AK once again as his teammates start to think about the rotates. Bomb on the back of Floppy, still yet to commit to either side. He's in connector, so it looks like he's going to go to B.
B-Stick's definitely an individual to watch out for on a map like Overpass, averaging a 1.13 rating in the last 3 months, 22 maps played. A lot of it and a lot of the deegs, but maybe not the success. Fang out on the other side brings it back to a 3v3. The time is running low, and it does seem like it's going to be a B play.
Nades up from JT, Zedco evading back towards ramp, seeing the bomb now with Floppy's position. The pre-fired Eagle not landing the headshot. Tom Case missing the mark on the backstab. So his teammate coming in towards the mid control. Zedco dealt with Forzy. Facing forward, back over towards jungle, 34 points of health for him. The SMG can swing, and actually Tom Case can deny the bomb plant at least, but as Forzy falls, it's all left to the coach to clutch once again this time. Much better position though, with low HP across both the individuals. Fang and JT receive the swing. Tom Case gets a reload in as well. Looking out towards that ramp control. Spot the player that makes the move in. 12 seconds to the clock. They are running out of time here on the T side line. Swing back. The bomb plant should be secured at the harder cover. Tom Case wraps the corner, gets JT, looks for the triple, and that's exactly what he'll get.
Mate, get in. That's got to be such a good feeling in for Tom Case, because it has to be said, he is the coach, he is struggling statistically, but that's probably one of the biggest rounds we've seen from him in this series. A 1v2 clutch. They're both on low HP, but it's the round. It's the round that is what matters.
Return back once again. No loss bonus for Complexity. They at least have the bomb plants to their names. So they should eco in this next round. Sinners gun basis to work with, and a lot of money being gained out of Tomcase as well, so cash to be invested into in the future. As a matter of fact, Complexity will go for the Force Buy. The AK, the Deagle, the Tech 9, the Night 10, the Scowl. Very similar to what Sinners brought out in the last round.
They did opt against it, though, on Inferno. Quick pace out towards Connector. Early spam. JT is down low. Tomcase getting as much out of that AK as possible.
B-stick spam, shock nade in, M4 burst for Forzy, gets Junior, Grim responds to the man. A 4-on-4 scenario. Shock holds his nerve with the M4 out here.
I wonder if they think there was only one player that was aggressive out towards T-Con rather than two. Tomcase gets the trade-off, but JT's down low. And Zedko, there could actually be quite a lot of pressure on him to defend B because he doesn't have a teammate inside.
Back at the T-ramp, but the smokes get sent down by Complexity. Walk forward for Zedko will continue as the T start walking forward. JT caught Zedko, frag, Fang down. Grim will also drop to the FAMAS, and the Force Buy has been wrecked by the CT side.
Complexity had a way in. It felt as if they had the right marker, that they bring it back to a 3v3. They've got a bit of a contact play out of Monster, but Zedko just does a very good job of isolating all of those individuals. And now for Sinners, an opportunity to start getting off to an early lead on CT side.
Certainly mounting up to the pistol, the Complexity had gained, and Sinners, they get a good first half in, then considering the patterns we've seen so far in this series, what does that say about Complexity's chances? They are on the T-side start to their credit, so the CT half might have yielded a few more results. But even so, those Sinners have always bounced back. Complexity have capitulated in the later portions of the matchup. Be worried about in the back of your minds here as this one goes on. For this round, though, it's a formality with the pistols out against the rifles. Grim does recover an M4 and turn it into Forzy's head. But now I've got 3 more to get in this clutch.
Try and just do as much damage possible. Even the coach aggressive out to the divider is going to cancel it. And as of right now, Tomcase is putting on quite a show. Top fragging in server. How many rounds do you reckon that's going to stay for? Another 15?
Definitely not.
Come on, bring him some confidence.
Well, B-Stick's hot on his heels right now. 1 frag difference. Forzy, when he gets started, he's going to go like the clappers.
Forzy's on for a good game, I reckon, because he's proved himself to be very consistent, not only on Overpass, but in Map 1 and in Map 2.
He's top of the board right now for the Sinners side. 50 kills thus far in this matchup. 28 of them over on the last map. Forzy has spotted 1 man. Grim caught dead to rights. Can add 1 more to the tally on this one. Forzy and B-Stick with those 2 frags. Opening things up effectively. Now B-Stick has equalized Tomcase, so this lead does not get hold for this round, it doesn't seem.
This is looking really positive from Sinners right now. Another flash over the top. JT blinded, and Forzy starting to go quite aggressive, making an info play right behind them. No one is watching for the backstab, so this could actually be quite a lot of info from Forzy, but it could go the other way. If Complexity starts speeding up, they might be able to open up A.
A minute on the clock to do so. Tomcase's jump facing has seen 1. Incendiary was going to get thrown down, opted against it for the time being. Wraparound from Forzy continues up towards this mid-control. He might miss the mark against the bomb carrier. They're making their way into Connector. Oh, the timing does land it. Junior caught. JT can't pick up the bomb, but refaced it. Give Forzy a triple. And once he gets going, he's going like the clappers.
Even Fang, what is he meant to do in this round? He's the monster lurk. His idea is, I'm going to help you split into B. You guys need to bring the bomb, and they just get caught. There's nothing that Fang could have done differently in that round which would have changed the outcome. And 4-1, you kind of mentioned like what we'd seen in the first half, the second half, respectively. We have never really seen Sinners get off to a good start at all. When we think back to Vertigo, always on the back foot. When we think about Inferno, at least the early stages, while it was competitive, they didn't lead by example. So this is almost a fresh avenue of approach that Sinners are not really being tested that often in the first stage of a map.
Always playing catch-up against Complexity, and Cole opposite on this occasion. 3 rounds down on the Sinners board. The Eagles and Tech 9s get brought in for the half bite. Complexity running out of chances here because the bomb didn't even go down in that last round, so M4's prodding initially at the default position as the AK of Tomcase, being the loudest player in the server at this moment. Even he falls back.
Slow, very passive indeed, up towards the A site. Floppy trying to just catch anything aggressive towards those short sandbags. And for Sinners, even though there was a slight press in the last round with the AWP being aggressive, they have really routed it back in to be quite deep in the bomb sites this time.
Yeah, line of engagement much further back. Complexity, you've got to press much further forward. Pistols to fall into the territory of the CT side. And only one smoke to really force the issue on the duels themselves. Maybe cut rotations from the back of the A site. And that can be about all that they can really hope for. Maybe a post-plant smoke as well. But no flashes to get themselves in for the kills themselves. So, again, it should be pretty easy pickings for the Sinners. Tom Case lands a headshot on Junior. Smoke does go down. The AWP also rings out. Beastic has found his kill on JT, clearing out the long presence. And Tom Case deals with the anti-eco pistols pretty effectively. A triple fan for him. USP pulled out for the tap. It's actually Shock that steals it. 5-1 to the board, Sinners.
Tom Case is farming right now. This is unreal. I guess circumstances are important and context too, that a few of them have been anti-eco frags, but one of them was a clutch. And think back to that round, that 1v2 clutch, and what that has now set up for the team of 4 rounds in a row, no bomb plants or complexity, and a lack of any competitive success from that point onwards.
They're 5 on the chop of Sinners. Complexity, you need to find something, because even these rounds have been pretty one-sided for the Sinners' victory. It's not even like they've been limited on the buybacks. Cash is flowing pretty nicely for the CT side. Only concern is going to be Shock, and that's about it. He can be dropped a weapon. Or before he was leaning in to connect it initially, looking at underpass. The main mid player will come through from Cole. And Orb will back up to receive it.
Surely they've got to force him off angle with a flash or even a smoke down to the front of the bathrooms. Seems very dry as of right now.
That might lead to their demise, but Forzy falls back. Doesn't opt to hold it forever. B-Stick, M4. Watching and waiting. Running out towards the long entrance, but not seen as of right now. Forzy starts the extension. Re-aggress towards the mid position. Both Orb have missed their shots. The reface catches JT. At least Junior can trade, but Tom Case, so quick on the response of himself, holding back at the backside. Flashes in to suppress the T-side line and wait for backup to arrive.
There could be an over-rotation. Fang's trying to lurk out towards a short pipe, and that's been seen. They've got to commit towards A now.
Oh, Tom Case overwhelmed by Junior. B-Stick out towards long, still frags back, and Junior on for the ace clutch here. The AWP in his hands, the bomb on his back. Smoke down, has got to go for the plant.
Sinners have got so much time to work with, a couple of kits, and even for Junior, where does he reposition to? Out to long?
Oh, nades out. The P250 tries to jump face in against B-Stick, and he got attacked to his credit. That wasn't enough damage to be done. 5 points of health, he's alive. And so are the CT side. 6 on their board. Complexity are in trouble.
They really are. This is a massive wake-up call for them on T side. Because even in that round, both AWPers miss, both AWPers find the trade on one another. And then you come down to a situation where Tom Case is able to get a pick. He plays very defensive. Even the lurk out towards the B site is being watched. And that's kind of what allowed Sinners to play 3 players on A, is that Zedko got so aggressive towards a short pipe on the railing, didn't see anything. And then Complexity are working with a 2v4 recovery to make that round happen. It's always so impossible to make it, and the clutch doesn't quite come through, so 6 on the trot for Sinners.
Guns pull back out for Complexity, already spammed down on HP for Floppy, 66 points for him. Rotation back. Where towards that B site, Zedko and Shock. 2 individuals to try hold for it. Smoke set in deep over the monster. Crossfire holds.
Complexity need to get their flashes on point. This is going to be a very difficult crossfire to hold against.
Molotov's over, Zedko sprays, Shock follows suit. Grim gets tagged up. He does find a responsive though. Shock holding back. The AK still very close to position. See in the shadow. Face around from Grim, gets a kill to a 3 versus 3. Tom Case holds his own with a spray. As B-Stick gets Grim aggressive. JT nade to his feet. A 1-on-3. The bomb in the open, and the CT's watching every avenue of attack here.
Oh, what a hold coming through again from the Sinners side. Even Tom Case in for 1 kill. Just putting so much appliance pressure down there on Monster. Constant fighting. And it's often the outset. You're on a 5-on-3 already. Grim is doing his absolute best to try and brute force it open. And while he gets away with a couple of kills, look at the pace. Tom Case coming through up on that short side. You got B-Stick fighting from the sandbags too. And keep in mind, on Overpass, we normally look at someone like Floppy, who averages a 1.16 rating. I think he's had an okay performance so far, nothing sort of outrageous. he's down at 2 picks. And when he's your best overpass player, you've got to get more out of him.
Yeah, they mentioned on the desk earlier that Floppy's had a bit of a shocker so far in this series. Overpass will look to be no different.
It's really been everyone outside of Grim, to be honest, that no one has really put up adequate numbers, because even coming into map 3, the only player that's had a positive rating combined on map 1 and map 2 is Grim. For Sinners, it's 4 players.
It's more pronounced for Floppy, though, being the AWP. You're right about that. Grim with the Galil in hand, the main player you look towards to try and dig them out of this hole. Complexity down by 6, and there's one more to take the half, and with the pistol half by around this Galil, looks to be the round in which they do so.
Even Sinners, a little bit more centered over towards the B side than what we've seen previously. B-Stick not really catching much in connector at all. And now starting to think about rotating Forzy back up with the AWP. And even for him, Jay, I don't think we've had too many glimpses of Forzy on the CT side. Hasn't really been required.
Back behind Dice, jump face, B-Stick gets the kill on Fang. Forzy follows suit on JT. Smoke out, trying to dive out of the way, sees where Floppy is. Nade comes out, should land close towards them indeed. Tags up on the Floppy position, the Deagle facing forward, the AWP falling back. Damage will be done. No kills found against those 2 individuals. The bomb plant is secured, so at least they get bonus money.
I like the respect that's been given forward here. Grim is trying to press the issue, but there's CTs all around. Forzy's waiting for the engagement, and that's exactly what he's ready for.
Grim down, Floppy now an AK in his hands. Got to go further than these 2 kills, and he won't. Junior, Deagle up, dead to Zedco. It looks so easy for Sinners here.
It really does, and this has not shown itself for many times in the series. We saw moments, maybe on the T side of recovery of Vertigo, where it was kind of a bit of a rollover. We obviously saw the second half on the second map, and that sort of idea that we could get a bit more going when it comes to consistency. But looking at the way that the rounds have come through, this is something new.
A half taken by the Sinners side, Complexity. Now with the guns out. Demonstrates some level of competency right here and now. B-Stick, M4 diving out of dodge, spray through Grim with the kill. Forzy finds Junior above the smoke, but Grim responds to a 4-on-3. Complexity for once have the man advantage, but Tom Case, look how aggressive he wants to get to either change this, but get the info that no one's up here in top mid.
This is a lovely info play, because now they can stack up the B site. They can have both Zedco and Shock to hold down. There is a resmoke. If that goes down to the monster position, that could stall for even further time.
2 players holding the back of B site. They walk through the monster control, Grim and Fang. Their way forward, the Molotov does not connect towards the toxic barrels. The flash over, the swing forward. Zedco, kill found to Grim. Swing back from Shock, gets another kill with Zedco's assistance. He actually steals the triple, and Floppy's alone with the bomb dropped. Cubby corner of water, and a quadra. What a hole for Zedco.
My goodness, info plays are just flowing right now from Sinners, and they just adapt themselves so wonderfully out towards that B site. You put your smoke down behind that left-hand side of the pillar, you play the off angles against one another, and this shouldn't really be happening. The trading game for Complexity on T side has been weak. Zedco's just able to continue fragging down from that pit angle. 9-1. This is just an absolute mow-over, and Sinners are just adding so many rounds in a row.
Complexity reduced the scouts on these buybacks here. JT does start things off, trying to force the issue out of Short. He's had enough of the dominance of Sinners here. Shock might be in a little bit of a dicey position. Being covered off by Tom Case, once again towards the bridge position. Flash has been turned away from. Both players are ready for the face-off. They might even extend towards JT himself.
Oh, timing is everything, but no, the extension's actually a walk. They're not making any noise about this rather than a flash forward.
2 players at a crossfire. JT seen. Tom Case gets his 12th kill. Fang responds towards Forzy, though, trying to extend out into the middle of the Molotov. 41 HP as he burns quite significantly down. And Shock behind the smoke plays into the site itself, but Tom Case gets a 2K.
Oh my goodness, Tom Case just keeps adding frags, and even Shock is wasting so much time. There's nearly 3 defenders now on B.
Lean in. Flash over. Swing forward, spray through from Shock, doesn't land, and Fang finally trades the other man. It's all left to B-Stick on the clutch.
Might as well have an attempt at it. There's so much money in the bank, at least looking for exit frags, trying to target the economy for the T side. Eventually, Complexity with a stall out from Monster allow themselves a side take and perhaps a second round.
Triple for Fang, finally, Complexity break the streak. But 9 in a row for the Sinners side. The CT forces have done such massive work. There is a lot more to be done here. Guns can come back, as you would expect for the T side line, but there's so much money built up for Sinners, they'll rebuy.
That was an important refrag coming through from Junior towards the barrels. Even Fang with the AWP recovered off the ground does work with it. You're right about the money state, looking pretty rock solid. And for Complexity, they just need more consistency on this T side. Not just have the one-off round here or there. A little bit of aggression from Fang alone.
Swing in, kill not found. Zedco starts things off. One man down, tag up against the CT player, leaves it in a bit of an awkward position for him. B-Stick's the next player of the challenge though, flashed in, connect to control, conceded by Floppy, and a lot of info given up. B-Stick might swing for the kill here.
A lot of noise, flash over, lovely.
Lovely.
Good sequence, right? Just working with that util, pull the distraction ever so slightly, and now even make an info play, go even further aggressive towards T-Con and see nothing.
Down range and dive into the short position. It's Shock with the kill on JT. Next 2 players left for Complexity after they finally found the breaking point against Sinners. Sinners just come back with sheer confidence in this follow-up round. The bomb's not quite in their control, but look at how extended they are.
And knowing how many times Complexity in the last couple of maps brought back these wild 2v4s, 2v5s, I'd normally have a vibe that it could be on. I'm not getting that vibe at all here on Overpass. It's anything but that. Sinners have not allowed these massive amount of advantages to fall out away.
Shock facing in against Grim. Spot the spray, but Grim comes up with the kill instead. 4-on-2. Lee's brought back by Complexity's part, but a 15-second timer remaining. A smoke's rolling down against this Molotov. Zedco does get overwhelmed, and Tom Case tries to hold down the site. Stall for a little bit of time here against Junior. He gets his kill, doubles up. The coach is having a wild one, Dweg. 10-2 for the Sinners now.
Right, we were just having a laugh, saying that he's going to top frag for all these rounds. And he actually is. He actually is putting up the most numbers. He dropped 22 kills in map 1 and map 2 combined. He's coming closer to that. And remember, he is the 98th highest rated player of the event coming into today, averaging a 0.79 rating. And he's just exploded in map 3.
Ridiculous stuff. And Complexity is struggling to deal with it, let alone the other stars of the Sinners side. Walk in, quick play out to the B side, try and change the narrative, try and change the pace, but Zedco and Shock are there to shut him down. Swing back from Zedco, gets his double. Junior will be spotted as Zedco trying to switch weapons here. USP pulled out, he's completely blinded, but Zedco's got to get away. A 4-on-2 is still game for Sinners, and now the AWP wants his pick.
So much confidence right now for the City side. Junior's going to put the lurk smoke down, hope to buy a little bit of cover, and they've just got to keep going.
Floppy burning a little bit though, tagged up to 52 to 20 in fact. Tom Case will finally get fragged out of the round by Junior, but B-Stick so quick to respond. Floppy's tapped to the headshot, brings back one in the 1v3. Needs to get Forzy next, sees the head, but the AWP is just quicker. They're just better, they're just better.
They're outclassing, and we always kind of saw that to an extent in the second maps of the series when it was the back foot approach from Sinners. But coming into Overpass, you have to remember, you're coming into the most played map in the pool for Sinners. And while Overpass doesn't always get picked, it got picked quite a lot in the Invitational. The playoff round 1 game against Ecstatic, picked Overpass. EC Kiev, picked Overpass. Kova, picked Overpass. Enterprise, picked Overpass. This is 5 series in a row, or go back, 4 series in a row up to this point, Overpass was picked. And that's why I said coming into this that the map pool is so much better here for Sinners with the likes of the Strength on Vertigo, with the likes of the Inferno and the Overpass, and we're seeing it all come into fruition. It's 22 maps played in the last 3 months.
Nine rounds the difference. Complexity is still struggling. T-side yet to truly take off. The pistol gained and the 9-round streak, then the 1 break. Then Sinners right back on the little mini streak right here. Could carry the streak forward until the end of the half, honestly. The firepower's there, the frags are there, Complexity, they're the only thing that's not there.
Even working this connector control, it's very passive. There's not much action going down towards A. And think about how many B pops we've seen. We've hardly had any action towards the A site. Very limited in that sort of field. Even the nade placement is just constantly dunking down damage.
Forward for Grim. B-Stick's going to get caught. That's 1 pick. Tagged up so heavily, though, and Forzy is ready for the swing out. We'll see the smoke being sent down. Walk ahead of it. Body block not quite getting out of there, so not to be. Long as gained.
Couple of CTs have aggressed towards Monster, so it should be a tell fairly quickly to come over towards A. And even Tomcase around this trash can's just got to stall for time.
Flashes and Molotov sent in. Fang is going to overwhelm the man, so Forzy's left as the lone defender of the A site. Swing forward, looks towards mid mostly. Didn't see the player at APC. Bomb should be secured. A 5-on-3 for Complexity, and I think Sinners are going to go ahead and save. Money's a little bit shaky, so makes a lot of sense. At long last, Complexity will find a little bit of decency, but they're just individual rounds.
Exactly. Following up is going to be vital. Even trying to put more pressure onto the NWP, try and take it out of play. Very smart decision here for Sinners to realize, don't go for it. 3v5, your 2 B-site players are still in Monster when the site gets taken. There's no point risking it. The money, like you said, isn't great. So put yourself in a position where you can save, get a very good and decent buy followed into round 15. And for Complexity, you'll take anything. Any rounds from this point.
Any T round is going to build into a CT comeback in the next half. And this half is coming to a close here and now. (11-3) is still the scoreline. Be it 11-4 or 12-3, it's going to be Sinners' fantastic basis to work from. Contrary to what we've seen so far in this series, Complexity had always had the positive starts. They always had the early leads. Now Sinners, the first time they've been truly dominant at the start of a match.
Even that early util coming down from the park position and out towards Fountain is going to give the idea for Sinners that there could be further map control being taken towards A. Force is actually waiting for a boost.
Might just get it as well. Oh, the jump face from JT. Forza doesn't quite connect it, though. Positions back into the bathrooms, watching the birthday entrance. Not the mid entrance, though. Could attack from either side. It's B-Stick's kill instead with Forzy's crossfire that locks out Floppy.
They don't even know about the next A-side player. Tomcase may have been seen. Grim's got a molly.
Smoke comes in from Forzy in time with a counter incendiary bag. A spray through, a flash to go over here. Re-smoke on actually allows him to cross successfully. The blind sprays come back, 9 points of health. Grim's burning, naded down, got a hide close, and I think Tomcase was aware of this. Grim backed out towards the side, spotted, and spray comes back. Forzy's off, Molotov'd away, the shot misses, and Grim will find the trades. A 3-on-3 as the young star steps up for Complexity.
Grim's got to find some more, though. These rotations are in quickly. Bomb plant goes down. They don't know about the long wrap.
Adco working in from mid. The 1 man on the site, shock caught off by Grim into the back. So now left to 2 on the CT basis. Junior watching long. Catch the kill. Zedco alone. Fang back of signpost. Junior back of sight. Spray comes through against Fang first. AHP against the next 2 players. There's only perfect headshots against them. Taps continue, but they peak together for the 4th for Complexity. It's at the very end of the half. The North Americans look decent. But still, a whacking great 7 rounds separate the 2 squads.
And just knowing that they could have been up 2-0, 3-0 if they wouldn't have lost the clutch to the coach of the Sinners side. And for Grim, I do feel for him. He's 18 frags and 13 deaths. He's the highest fragger in this map. He's the highest fragger across the entire server on map 1, in map 2, coming into the 3rd. The support is just never there.
Glocks for the P250, USPs pulled out on Complexity's part. In for the pistol round of the second half. The CTs need to get this going. If Sinners win this pistol, it might be over.
Aggression play, info spot out towards a short pipe. They don't know about the players in connector as of right now.
Open the doors. B-stick and shot, lean forward, taps through on Junior. Damage done with the kill found. Grim trying to see if he can trade, but he runs out of ammo, but JT and Fan come in with support. Tom Case also got a TK in the mix. The trade is decent for Sinners if it wasn't for that. A 3-on-2 instead. Now B-stick's dropped, and it's all on the coach to try and make it happen again. 14 picks. Now tapping his way through, JT's holding the bombs on his back and catches him in the jump face. Headshot found, Complexity win the pistol rounds.
And this is now where we've got to see the pistol turn into something more. You'd have to imagine for Sinners, no bomb plant, they're probably not going to force it, they're going to Glock it. Allow Complexity to get up to 6, and this is where they've got to rely on that round win percentage. 59.7 on the CT side in the last 3 months for Complexity. They'll have to dig very deep if they want to get this comeback forward.
Blocks in. No Kevlar, no util, no bonuses for the Sinners, just those straight pistols. Junior set in with the USP to watch out for contact. B-stick leaning first. Junior's gonna hear his footsteps. USP pulled out against them, gets his 2 kills. Does get overwhelmed in the end, but JT's there with support alongside Fang's SMG. Bomb dropped in the open, and shouldn't be much left in this one. Junior, of course, saved to hold on to the AWP in the next round. We'll burst forward as Zedco falls away.
Just trying to get as much out of it. Hope to not get farmed. Grim getting closer to his 20 bomb. And obviously for Junior, wants to try and get the AWP in his hands as quickly as possible. Now statistically, Overpass is actually one of the weaker maps in the pool from him. So I do wonder how much importance we are going to see from the AWP on the city side. Still for Floppy, 3 and 14 is worrying and concerning moving forward. But perhaps there could be some more positivity in the opening rifle.
Still got an SMG, going to be a bit more of a bonus basis for Complexity. The only real upgrade rifle is the AWP. No M4s on the CT side of things. Sinners, of course, saving into their rifle buy across the AKs. Flash ready for Tom Case. Nades coming in will do some damage. Zedco and Shock are ready for the entries. Flashed in from Monster. Floppy overwhelmed. And memory and minimal damage done to the 2 players in the back as well. Fang now going to lose Grim as he suddenly stands alone with no close backup. Smoke down to the cross. He'll get out of dodge.
He's seen a lot, but it might actually be a fake. Sinners are slowing this down completely. They're trying to see if they can toy them for a loop.
Complexity have bracketed them in, though. They've now got short control back up towards T-Con. Junior will lean in. Oh, B6 ready for this. Moves quicker to the trigger. It's B-stick. Headshot found. A way out has been gained. Now JT's got to account for the rotate here because they've seen nothing else outside of the 1-man. The Sinners are still in Monster. They're still going to commit B.
What an expensive round this could be from Complexity. Now down to just 2 players to hold a bomb site. And one of them's an MP9 of Fang.
On the site itself. JT going to provide support from short, but Fang's got to do most of this on his lonesome. Low HP, low firepower, overwhelmed by Tom Case, and JT known, tap forward, dealt with by the coach once again. 12-6, Sinners get their T-starts.
Tom Case just putting up so much. And here we go. Grim has 33 frags, more than the next one down in Complexity being Fang. Mate, that's not something to be happy about. It is for Grim, but as a team, that is Grim.
Living up to his namesake in that sense.
Honestly, that is a massive gap.
And that's a massive amount of wind taken out of the sails of Complexity, knowing there's one guy that's doing good for you. This is disastrous for this team. Has been kind of from the word go. But here and now, with the Sinners being where they're at, 12-6 up in the last map of the series, the buy is afforded at least by the M4s, but Grim's already tagged the 44, and they haven't even seen contact yet.
A lot of footsteps being heard towards the top of connector position from Complexity's perspective. Floppy thinking about at least keeping the pressure on, keeping an eye sightline down towards the short pipe. There's an aggressive long take looking to come through from Complexity.
Stick ready to receive them. Burst of the headshot, looks for the second man. Doesn't quite make it happen. JT able to respond to the 4-on-4, and now Complexity fall away.
Even Shock is waiting for a jump face, some peak of information to come through from A,
Ooh.
and the shot even comes through. That is mental.
That's a beauty. A mistake that Complexity didn't think would be punished, but lo and behold.
Scabble stack on B2.
Yeah, rotate away. They haven't seen anything else towards long or mid, just those two players. The four-man unit about to converge upon the split, and what did Complexity do here? Did they go for a retake?
No, I think you just have to save. Hold on to your weapons, bring it into the next round. And I wondered to myself, where is the Complexity that beat Astralis on this map? Where is the Complexity that beat OG on this map? It's just... the fact that it's just not even competitive. That's the thing that's getting me the most.
I'm with you there. Push the distance. Once again, the 3-map series is that they look to concede. Sinners up to 13 now. It's Complexity on the giving end of a comeback here.
Do you reckon they underestimated Sinners?
End.
Could that be a conversation?
That is a possibility, and...
I mean, we always know you never underestimate any tier 2 team in Europe, but invited teams sometimes
I think it's because of the fact that they have a coach playing in, so maybe Complexity were thinking that this could have been the series. Like we were saying at the beginning of the show, right? Like we were saying, Complexity, this should be a layup. They take on tier 1 teams. They have some close affairs on occasions. They're playing against the Sinners side, who probably would be the second highest, you'd say, to get defeated. Maybe the first highest to get defeated of all the teams that came through from the round of 12. Because of the coach standing in situation, all these factors that play to the favor of Complexity. We can never truly understand what the mindset is of these guys. At this point, we're just spitballing. But it's a possibility that's what the reason is.
And just knowing the Complexity have won 1 out of 12 best of 3s versus EU and CIS teams so far this year, that their only win was against Heat 5 months ago, that in the last 3 months, they've won 5 out of 15 best of 3s, all of them being against local competition. They're on a 7-game losing streak. This one probably hurts the most, if I'm going to be honest.
We extend that streak to 8 as well. Sinners, higher firepower, pistols pulled out for round 20 will be a 14-6, assuming Sinners don't enable those M4s. Map control, gain of the default, B-Stick in particular pushing up. But Junior falling back.
Just the consistency with kill distribution as well. Forzy down at 14, B-Stick 18, Tom K 16, Zedko 17. Between those 4 guys, it has just been one after the other, always finding impact and slowing it down. Trying to bait a mistake. 50 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be a regroup out towards the A site, and it's only Fang and Junior to defend A. At least that's where 2 of the M4s are.
Never would I thought I would have imagined that Tom Case would be the 3rd highest on the board in the entire server. Like, yeah. What is that?
It is pretty crazy.
30 seconds. Sinners mounting up the A offensive. They have Fang and Junior on the defense for it. Backed up into the back of Pizza Corner. Tom Case, instant headshot to Junior. Molotov one extend around it. Tom Case might get dealt with. Zedko knows exactly where he is and gets that trade easy. 2 rifles, AKs. Can get dropped in for the Seaside line, but either way, it's going to have to be another save call for Floppy.
And that's just a typical Sinners round on Overpass. Just slow it down to the thinnest of margins on the clock. And then you strike, and it's a lack of information from Complexity. They don't really know what's going on, and Tom Case just rips an entry straight off the bat. The molly is excellent down there towards that Pizza Corner. And then for Fang, gets 1. You've got to get more out of those hero M4s. When you're up on an eco, you need multi-frags, you need round opportunities, and it just didn't come at all. Especially knowing that both of those rifles, the majority of them were towards the site that actually got taken. Sinners up to 14 now. 2 more to go to be in the semi-finals.
Versus the absolute nightmare that is the comeback for Complexity. 8 rounds in a row at this moment. May well be 9 in the next round. But it's got to start from here. The buy across the rifles with no cash in the bank. Sinners win this. They likely win the map up. I don't see a way that Complexity would force the issue back in on the 22nd round. They've got to take this. This is a must-win.
You'd imagine so. Grim, with the opening spam into the connector position, just gets a double dink off. Tom Case dealt with immediately. And now, for what was a long time in a while, we've actually had a round where Complexity have won the opening man advantage.
All down to spam and luck, though. Gonna find that little bit more oomph to actually make the round successful. Fang caught off by Zedko. Smokes down at Monster. He sticks around against Floppy. Dry face in from Floppy. Somehow catches Zedko off guard and maintains the advantage for Complexity.
Forzy's ready for JT. Up on the wider angle. Bit of an off. Needs to free aim out towards that right-hand side. Oh. And the shot still comes through. A recovery for Sinners to bring it back to a 3-on-3.
He's just too good. And now B-Stick up to get good of his own right. Will be seen through the window. The Junior gets the frag against him. Swinging out as B-Stick just wasn't ready for that boost-up position. So 3-on-2 once again for Complexity. The bomb separated from Forza. The Molotov with the flashes. The best he can do is try the lurk out here. Grim in mid, might have his attention turned away, and they're panicking. Already they're panicking. The B site seems to be open. Floppy is on the rotate as well, so it's a free plant.
It is indeed, but what happens after that point, even for Forzy, look at the big wrap. He's going to try and come all the way into Tikon. It is going to take him a while to get into a good position to hold out on B.
Grim's on the rotate back in from Connector. Shock needs that backup. Inbound from Connector, they'll go. Try and make as little noise as possible. Shock has no idea where Grim is. The man in from underpass. I think Floppy was just spotted right there. Shock. Wait down at wall to wait for his contact. His spray goes well. Now the AWP needs to get here because Grim's already on a site. Finds the swing, finds the kill, and Forzy knows he's out of it. Complexity now have the whole defuse and the whole round, the 7th to the board.
Decent effort when it comes to a round that really doesn't look winnable at all. It comes down to the state where Forzy wants to cut the rotates out from Connector, and Junior actually doesn't overpeak. He holds his life into a position where he can kind of just jiggle around but not give a chance back into the round. And of course, once that bomb goes down, you need your site carrier to stay alive. And the trade eventually comes through. It allows Complexity to get up to 7. And even JT, as a prime example, is a player that statistically is one of the weakest on overpass for Complexity, but yet is it second at the board. The in-game leader's putting a valiant effort in.
Doing all he can. Complexity now 7 behind the Sinners side. The AKs, the AWP back in as you would expect. So much cash available for another buy. B-Stick is going to get caught first. JT extending his 13th pick on the board. Complexity have the start.
This is looking a little bit more positive. Just won a round. You've now got an opening man advantage with a slightly aggressive peek towards Tikon. Forzy's just trying to catch if JT continues the pressure, but it doesn't seem to happen. And now it seems to be quite a heavy stack over to the B side.
Kill for Floppy, found. JT follows suit against Shock. 2 left, 1 left for the Sinners, and this is the most confident we've seen Complexity throughout pretty much the entire map. Sinners, a little bit of a comeback left in their opponents. The AWP will at least try and save back here against Junior's part. Shot missed out though. The rest of the CTs will go for the hunt, take this weapon out of his hands.
Forzy wants to try and make it expensive. AWP gets a good shot onto Junior, and now he's actually got a sight line into A. He might actually get a bomb plant. Okay, no,
no. If he went running out towards mid, though, he would have had the bomb plant. There's no way Complexity beat him to the site because they committed so hard in from Monster. He didn't have the info, dude. Didn't go for the commit, but just imagine what that would have done. This would have been some like ASAP clutch shenanigans. As it stands, he'll defend himself. He'll keep the weapon into the next round. At least he'll try to. There are CTs coming real close towards Fang. The kill found. Forzy not quite giving up the angle to Grim yet. It doesn't look like he will do so in the end.
They've got to give it up eventually. You're in a position where you don't want to keep fighting. Just let him hold on to that AWP. You know that Sinners are going to buy next round anyway. And in my eyes, Complexity, while they can try and target the T-side economy, they've got to focus on themselves first because you're down 8-14. You're down by a massive stretch of rounds. And for Sinners, this has now been them being tested a little bit in the last couple of rounds. So I think pressure's going to be on for the Czechs to not get into an uncomfortable situation of not closing.
3 AKs for Complexity. Firepower to play with. Forzy up towards that birthday position. Can't quite find an angle there on the park slide. Grim seeing smokes being sent out to connect to control. Trying to play double duty because he's the only player in mid as well. Have got backup in the bathrooms, but they're hyper passive.
Haven't seen much out of Grim in this second half, funny enough. Trying to see if he can get some more presence out towards connector. Forzy checking out the long boost. Nothing indeed. Ooh, Shock actually loses the fight to the AWP and Divider though.
Reface from Forzy though, trying to see if he can get the trade on the man. Junior picking up the frag. Looks into the connector as Grim with a headshot finds the next 5-on-3. Complexity really starting to come into their own now. Sinners, what are you getting shut out of this round? It feels like Grim has been spotted by B-Stick. An engagement from Tom Case will get JT. Grim back into the bathroom, the gun seen, and the swing from B-Stick finds a 3-on-3.
This is getting very uncomfortable. That was a 5-on-3, two-man advantage of Complexity to work with. And now the time is starting to dwindle down low. They're going to over-rotate towards A and leave Floppy as the only defender on B.
Rotations better be thick and fast here for Complexity. Footsteps heard in the water position as smoke goes down to try to suppress them. They will try and counter-rotate Fang right back. That flashbang does nothing to Floppy. Incendiary thrown towards ramp. Zedco doesn't check it. Instead, he looks towards the likes of Fang. Junior with the AWP pick. Tom Case with the AWP in his own hands. 2 kills, but 6 seconds left to try clutch this. Fang will try and push forward to the smoke, and Tom Case will escape with his life and the big green once again. It's Complexity with another round.
Even the positional advantage that Floppy's able to find, he realizes that it is going to be a contact into B, put the smoke down towards bridge, play very defensive, play the time, allow your rotates to really be the impact players in a round like that. Don't over-peak yourself, don't offer up B. And for Sinners, it was a decent chance of recovering it when you think that they were already down in a 3v5, they evened it up. But in towards that B site was just too difficult to take. They weren't quite getting those entries. And Complexity are one away from double digits.
Nades into the T-con position. Suppression involved, the smoke's down from Shock. Grim spray. He got a pick in the previous few rounds with that. Not on this one though, the nade missed out as well. Does catch some damage on the Shock, so the start's decent here for the CT side again.
Continuous spam into connector, Shock down to 52. Could be a little bit vital later on into the rounds. Not a lot of map presence being shown up towards A. Finally, B-Stick and Forzy start to work together around this park control. Now, there is Junior up on the long angle. No util for him, so he'll have to play quite defensive. Can't really think about always over-facing. And for Sinners, running the clock down again, I wondered to myself, Jay, when are we going to see that pacey round? Because we haven't really seen many rushes from them in the second half.
Not at this moment. 50 seconds on the clock. Tom Case walking in. Junior. Down into water position. Flashes over from the CT, trying to look in towards that monster control. Shin is stacked up to the B hit.
It is still a lack of information. Floppy and Fang have made quite a lot of noise over to the monster wall. Zeko needs a flash.
Re-smoke on. JT finds B-Stick out towards mid. No rotates called for it. No flashbangs come in either. Finally, one is going to come out from the short control, but Junior has caught Shock with the AWP. A 5-on-3. Sinners still running out of time, running so low on these defaults. Will fall away. Keep their weapons in for round 25 as Complexity gain 10. And things are starting to get real dicey for the Czechs now.
What a re-smoke that was, because that just cancelled it. As soon as that re-smoke goes down for Zeko, he can't do anything. He's got to be the guy that catch the monster players off guard, with the distraction being pulled from the short sandbags. And as soon as he gets re-smoked, he's stuck. You have to back off. And because the short sandbags players aren't able to find the entries, you just got to save. And you're right about the Czechs struggling, reaching a bit of a hurdle. And keep in mind how many save calls there's been these last couple of rounds. Being able to even execute towards a bomb site and taking it has been a struggle.
Now they're down on a weakened buy-up. They force around the weapons that were saved with a Galil and a Deagle in play. Orpin, Virginia trying to look out towards mid-control, already challenging the likes of Beastic, but not able to see him directly. Sprays through, Floppy. Tag to 82, the nades down from the CT forces. Trying to press the damage, but very little's done in the interim.
Start shaping up for a B-side Exy once again. Connector control is very limited for Shock. Tom Case being flashed further forward. Seems like him on T-side is getting a lot of the entry rolls, try and create the space. Not seeing anything up on the boost either.
It's quiet. We wait for the breaking point. We wait for the opening kill still. 60 seconds left. Still engagements out towards Monster, but nothing that directly leads to a kill or major damage. Sinners are playing so carefully towards this, but they've got to act much quicker. That timer hurt them so much in the previous round.
Shock might be dealt with here by the AWP Junior. Playing up on the other side. They need a flash if they want to get him out of top con. Bit more A presence. Junior and JT are going to be the two side defenders.
Warp ready for first contact and land that first shot. Sinners making their way into long control, though it might be JT with the majority of the defensive onus. Rotations will also be slow from complexity. Shock catches Junior, and now left to JT. M4 backside, backup is on the way. 20 seconds, he has to hold, and Beastic's Deagle removes him instead. A 5-on-3, Grim with one trade, and a second transfer to the third isn't successful though. The bomb can go down.
They've got to go for it. They've got to have the confidence to get this retake forward. Forzy with the AWP is still keeping eyes down, and Sinners just want to slow the clock.
Zedko with a re-smoke onto Dumpster as well. Pushed up, Floppy hoping he can see him out from the truck position. The flashbang in for Fang now. Turned away from Zedko. Knows that he's out there somewhere. Not going to go for the wallbang risk. The AWP sees him and Zedko gets his double up. And Fang is the last man standing for complexity and for the clutch. Sees Zedko, can't get the headshot. Zedko with a triple. And Sinners find themselves up a match and quarter final points.
I reckon that would have shut the A players up. That's a missed shot from Junior that you can't afford. And then even JT, he's got to find one here, Jay. And you can't blame your B players in a round like that. When both players on A don't even find a pick, what do you expect to do? You can try your best at the retake, but it's just never going to happen. Sinners up to 15, and even the buyback, there's no kit, there's a lack of util, and there's a FAMAR stand for Fang.
But a round that they absolutely have to win. And they have most of the tools to do so. To make do without the limitations. Sinners, the double orb setup. Shock trying to catch Grim, and that's exactly what he'll get.
And we know that there's a few double AWPers on this Sinners side occasionally. Zedko and Shock don't mind picking it up every now and then. And knowing that it was picked up in the last round, you might as well go for it. Beastic clearing out quite a lot of map control. They want to try and force Junior out into the open from the bathroom's perspective.
60 seconds, and JT will start to push back in towards the mid-control just as Beastic starts to rotate away from it to rejoin his teammates, go for the B execution. Zedko, triple in the last round, now to play entry to B here.
Remember, Jay, no kit. They can't afford this bomb to go down. It's got to be the strong defense.
Back turner Floppy, looking for Tom Case as well. Big double for him, locking out the majority of the site offender. Shocks, AWP still strikes. JT down to 3-on-3, and now the extension from Beastic's caught off by Fang. Forzy and Shock, the AWP players, caught off by the automatics of the CT side, and Complexity stay alive.
Floppy with one of the biggest holds we've seen out from the B side of him this entire half. The Sinners have got to be so frustrated knowing that Shock was playing in Connector. He gets 2 kills, and the B-site players have actually got a fairly open bomb site. You saw the way that Fang and Bo Floppy were aggressive towards short water, just knowing that they weren't really able to do enough against it. And that was the round for the taking. No kit, lack of util for the CT side. Now they've got funds behind them.
$11 to the board of Cole. Things are starting to build back for the American team. 4 to go to OT. To think as well, one back turn really dismantled the whole round there. Zedko, Fear looked towards short. Maybe it could have been a very different story. But alas, Sinners. That AWP saved on Forzy's part, getting the AKs and the Deagle out for Tom Case. They won with a buy like this in the previous round. Don't count him out just yet. Shock instantly into connector control. No AWP this time, just flashes in as they go quick.
Very fast indeed. One of the quickest times we've seen them on the T side so far into connector. It's definitely brought the A side presence to be a lot more passive. Junior AWPing in the bathrooms, JT falling back to the divider angle and further. And for Sinners, there isn't a lot of util in this round, so it has to be dry on quite a few of the approaches.
Nice set for Zedco into the monster position. Smokes on from the CT side. JT falling back towards that mid-control B-stick. Seeing the AWP firing away for Junior. Backed up on the CT basis and leaning back into the mid-control. JT and Junior ready for the swing. Shock caught dead to right. Start out again for Complexity, and that's a rifle down as well.
Very aggressive in from Shock. Tom Case is thinking about trying to get back over to that AK. Look to follow up. The bomb's heading over towards B. This is going to be an A fake.
JT's pushed up quite heavily. The Molotov's going down. Kill from Zedco has been found. Onto that B side, particularly Tom Case. Big concern against him. He finds JT instead, and that throws the whole default out of whack here for Complexity. Fang finds Zedco, though, on the short position. A 3-on-3. Are they just lurkers on the B side, or is there something more? Junior's AWP frags back, and they rotate away from the B side. So once again, it's Forzy and B-Stick in the 2v3. Make it 1v3, but this time the AWP's on site. Needs to get the plant now.
Down to Forzy. How does he reposition himself? Complexity slow it down. They don't make too much noise.
Smoke onto the site as well to buy a bit of cover. Looking out towards Heaven. Turns attention to Graffiti. Just spots Grim at the edge of the smoke. Where's the last man? He has no idea where Junior is. The 5-7 peeks out and gets the shot he needs to hold the AWP and hold the round.
Oh, big clutch. A necessary clutch here for the survival of Complexity. And knowing that Sinners are able to get a bomb plant there, they'll be able to buy back. Junior with a very good round indeed. You saw that defensive Fang to drop the bomb just when you thought there was enough distraction coming through from Tom Case. And then, of course, it's the lack of information. Looks back over to the left-hand side, but it's already too late. Complexity, 3 more to go to OT now.
15-12. Incendiaries and flashes to the mid position. A quick play out from Sinners, wasting no time with this pistol round. When I tries to take over one with the speed alone, and the flashbang's keeping them blind. Couldn't allow the kills to go the way of Zedco and co. Fang trades back as Grim follows suit onto Tom Case. The defensive seems to lock itself out, but Forzy's Deagle still strikes. Fang known, Beastic with an M4 now. Edge of the smoke. Oh, he finds him. 2-on-2 situation. The bomb can commit, and Beastic is so aggressive here.
JT's heard. They know exactly where he is. Junior's trying to see if he can spot the bomb, but he needs to look out to the left-hand side.
Forzy didn't see him either. Smoke on towards Heaven will block off vision. The bomb's got to get planted from here. They have time to play with, but Beastic gets the kill on JT. And the speed may have been the thing the Sinners are missing all along. It's Junior alone with the AWP. Now to step up in the ultimate clutch here. Sees Beastic, but cannot connect the shot. 16-12 instead. The Sinners have defeated Complexity. 8 series lost in a row for the Americans as the Sinners move on to the semi-finals.
Fair play to the Sinners. They really put the effort in. And even Tom Case, he was absolutely excellent.